G and on the beat.
Hey, go crazy, go stupid, go crazy, go stupid. It's the party time to slide the cash and vibe. Get your dog, gon' get ready, time to ride. Got your hair done and your hair cut. Makeup poppin', fellas got the Rolex. Go crazy, go stupid, go crazy, go stupid. It's a cool Friday night and yeah, I'm trying to catch a vibe. All the dogs just hit my phone and told me peace, it's time to ride. You know that I'm dead fresh every time my niggas slide. Face the first when I be moving, keep the toolie on my side, cause I'm real.
Hello and welcome. Welcome back to the WarDawg Trail Podcast. This is episode 147. You know, we having a Marine party today. All right. You know, whenever I get two Marines together, I go wild, I go hype, as I can finally let my guard down. All right. I don't have to be sensitive, prissy, any kind of other way than straight Marine, raw, and having fun. And that is what the fuck I plan on doing this episode with today's amazing and famous celebrity Marine that we got on deck. All right. This is one that you've known, you've seen around. It's got 1 million followers on Facebook alone. All right. But before we bring him to the stage, let's go over the usual announcements. All right, remember my book, The WarDawg Trail, A Marine Rifleman's Struggle with War and PTSD, is now out on Apple Books, Audible, Amazon, Walmart, Books A Million, and Barnes and Noble, as well as even libraries now. All right, it is now on sale on Amazon Prime. All right, remember my book also won an award. All right, for best Iraq War books of all time. By Book Authority. All right, remember my story starts, I'm just a Marine grunt. All right, no 311. End up serving 3 tours in Iraq, struggle a little afterwards, pick myself up eventually, and now you see me here doing Sergeant WarDawg TV with you. All right, this episode right now is streaming live on 8 separate platforms. All right, that is Fire TV, Roku. Remember, just search the Sergeant WarDawg TV app. All right, we have a complete app, as well as we now have an Apple app, as well as an Android app, and even 2 desktop apps that just went out and that I just released to the public. All right, so you can also download our app for your MacBook as well as Windows. All right, I am now a TV app reseller, all right, with TVAppBuilder.com. So if you are interested in having your own Fire TV app, all right, that's in front of possibly 250 million Amazon Fire TV users around the world, or 100 million Roku users around the world. Remember, TV App Builder is the exact same platform that I use for all 9 of my shows. This is how you can get yourself in front of potentially 300 million viewers in 2026. All right. In OTT television, that's over the top, or CTV, connected TV. All right. And that's simply the devices you see on the screen. All right. Whether that's a Roku device, a Fire Stick, an Apple TV device, it is not easier than in 2026 to get yourself and your content, regardless of what your genre is, on actual TV platforms. Now, the biggest addition to this is that we now offer mobile and desktop apps as well. So not only can I help you get in front of Fire TV crowd with your own app, just like you see Sergeant WarDawg TV, as well as on Roku, we can also get you your own PWA mobile and desktop apps for Apple, Android, MacBooks, and Windows. Remember, when we're mentioning PWA apps, I do have an original app on Google right now, but PWA apps are the type of apps that you do not need app stores to download. So, as I said, that's 6 platforms that you can see. All right, 2 on TV, as well as mobile devices, and now desktops. All right, over on school, you remember I have the WarDawg Creators class, okay? Every single thing that you see me doing, whether it's self-publishing my book beyond Amazon now, 2 Apple Books, Audible, Barnes and Noble. I teach all of these things, including how to get yourself on Roku and Fire TV, or even how to trademark your name. Because remember, I told you I found a Marine using my name on Instagram about 5 or 6 years ago. Decided I had to trademark, the show, my name, the whole nine. Um, Anything that you see that I do, I am now teaching over on school for WarDawg Creators Class. Now, I recently added 11 new courses. These are the 7 most recent courses that I added to WarDawg Creators Class over on school. All right. Like I said, everything from learning to get your trademarks with LegalZoom to using ACX to get your self published book on Audible. All right, last but not least, at Camp Doghouse at campdoghouse.org. Right. You know, my story, it wasn't until 2018, after years of not touching a gun, trying to be nonviolent and whatnot. Finally, I went off grid with a tent, AR-15, 45, box of MREs from Amazon, and a spool of concertina wire from Amazon. That's barbed wire for civilian types. Yeah, that's what it took for me to remember what I was good at. That's what it took in 2018 to give me purpose. Now, that off-grid location is where I decided to create Camp Doghouse. All right. Remember back in October, I got my 501c3 approval to actually make this a nonprofit organization, a homeless war veterans camp. You know how they like to say it. I wish they would just take all those crazy war veterans and send them off somewhere by themselves, put them on a planet by themselves. That's what I did, damn it. That's why I created campdoghouse.org and made it a 501c3. And we are now in the process of trying to acquire grants and donations for 9 acres in the off-grid property that I like to go and hunt, camp, and let my hair down as a Marine again. Now, this location is actually a prime uh, location for some of the nation's greatest trail riding. Right, the trails inside this location are actually nationally ranked. This is the location that I chose to create Camp Doghouse to help homeless war veterans in the Central Florida area. All right. Remember, I haven't figured out on my own what my purpose is in terms of living or surviving and whatnot, other than having my daughters. All right. But if that purpose happens to be for me to be here to create Camp Doghouse to help at least one homeless vet off the streets and not just be talking about it, doing more like I always said I was going to do back in 2019 when I started this, that is what I am doing. All right. Now, before I bring on today's guest, remember, Sergeant WarDawg TV is streaming on 5 separate social media platforms right now. Uh, excuse me. Actually, there's going to be 8 total. All right. It's 2 for TV on Fire TV and Roku. And then we add YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. This episode's on Rumble and I want to say Twitch. Yeah, Twitch. So I'm sorry, not Twitch. SergeantWarDawgTV.com. There we go. So this episode is up right now on 8 separate locations. That's TV, mobile apps, and as I mentioned, the desktop apps. Real quick, here's a QR code. I'll present it on SergeantWarDawgTV.com as well. The new mobile apps, the new PWA apps that are up for desktops and mobile apps so that you can watch any of our 9 original shows. All right. Remember, this is a war and true crime network. We've been up on Roku and Fire TV. Been up on Roku since March and Fire TV since June. All right. Now, I'm about to bring to the stage our celebrity guest, but let me tell you, this is not your average motherfucker. All right. This is a celebrity Marine. This is that dude. This is that one that you know is doing the damn thing. All right. No, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to the stage Marine 1169. Welcome to the show, boss.
What's up, man? What's
I'm
up, bro?
chilling, bro. I'm chilling over here, man. Uh, if you don't mind, I first off want to tell you salute, right? Because what you are doing as a veteran and creator is amazing to me, bro. I wish you nothing but success in every single thing that you are doing. All right.
Definitely
I
appreciate it, man.
I'm gonna
Definitely.
let you get into it, but obviously, I already mentioned people already know you from everywhere from YouTube to Facebook, having 1 million followers, TikTok, Twitch. If you don't mind, let's start off just you letting everyone know where they can find you online, and I'm gonna go ahead and put your Instagram up on the screen.
Okay. You can find me online at Facebook. That's my main page. You'll find more content over there than any other platform and stuff. And that's on Marine1169X, or just look up Marine1169. Instagram, Marine1169X. TikTok, Marine1169. YouTube, Marine1169. Snapchat. I do throw a lot of I throw some stuff on in Snapchat just to test it out. But it's Marine 1169 too. Threads, Marine 1169, X, Marine 1169, and finally you got Kick, and also what's the other one? Twitch, Marine
Twitch.
1169X. You'll find my content over there. Definitely appreciate it, everybody. Definitely
Yeah,
humbled.
yeah,
I'm humbled.
definitely, man. You got your own swag. You got your own, method of relating to your audience, and it obviously is crazy as hell to me as another Marine because I can relate to every motherfucking thing that you do or say. So I just go crazy. I go crazy at seeing you do it, and then I go crazy at seeing that other people other veterans or military related people understand that shit too, and it blows me away. You do it so well, man.
Definitely appreciate it. You know what it is? It's like I try to throw my content out there to make people laugh. And what happens is I like it to relate to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're a grunt, if you're infantry, like Pogue, freaking Air Force, Navy, and everything. Everybody could relate to something, and laugh about it. It doesn't matter what generation it was, whether it was back in like 1942. If you were in the military back then to now, there's something there you could kind of relate to, and just laugh about it, man. We all need that laugh and everything. And then the way it started off, if you want me to go back in my background a little bit.
Yeah, man. Let's start with the whole thing and telling the Marine 1169 story, where you from, why
Okay,
you chose the Marines over the other branches. Let's get
got
straight
you,
into it, boss.
got you. So back, I'm originally from New York, right? Grew up in New York, raised in New York, and stuff like that. And
What part we talking?
I grew up half most of the time in Brooklyn, and then I moved over to Queens later on, in my life. My parents moved to Queens, and so I
Bet.
went to high school in Queens and everything, and then from there, I'm gonna tell the whole story. My parents don't care right now. So what happened is I always wanted to join the military because my like on my dad's side, we always had military. I grew up around military. His brothers were in the military and stuff like that. At different, like the Navy, the Army. My dad was in the Army and stuff, and I didn't want to join the Army. I wanted to join the Air Force to fly jets and stuff, but at the time I wore glasses, right? And so, and at the time you couldn't wear glasses. I was like, man. So I was in middle school. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna join the Marines one day. So I'm in high school, and I was like, you know what? I want to do something. I'm bored. I'm bored in New York. It's just every day is the same thing and stuff. Like a lot of people say New York, it ain't boring. Nah, it was boring, growing up there and stuff like that. And then you trying to figure out how the hell I'm getting my parents' house. And um, so I was like, you know what, I want to join the military. And so I told my dad I'm gonna join the military. He was like, all right. I went and talked to my uncles. My uncle currently was at the time was in the Navy, and he worked for the Secretary of the Navy at the time. Right. Later on, he worked for 3 presidents later on directly for them. But I talked to him,
What's
sat
up?
down, talked to him, and everything. And he was like, making the Marine jokes and stuff. And then he was like, nah, go ahead and do it. And then I had a cousin, a great cousin, that was in the Coast Guard at the time, but he was in the Marines in the beginning. He said, man, you join the Marines, you definitely gonna be humping it and stuff. I was like, yeah, I want to join. So they were like, yeah, go ahead and do it. So at the time I was after high school, I was in middle college, and everything like that. And grades weren't doing too good. And so I was like, yo, I kept seeing the recruiter and was talking to the recruiter and everything. And he was like, kept seeing me and seeing me. And then I came up to the office and I came in there looking for information, but I was giving him a hard time. He was like, hey, here, fill this out. They give you a card just to fill out your contact information. I was like, I'm not signing that. I'm not signing that. And so he was like, bro, I ain't got time for this shit. So he asked the other recruiter, the younger recruiter, to sit down with me, get my information and stuff. So I was like, all right. Then I kept seeing the same recruiter and everything, the original one, and at the college and everything. And my grades, I got an academic dismissal. My dad didn't, he still don't know this. I got an academic dismissal. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, I'm gonna join the Marines. But I wanted to join the Marines to either be infantry or LAVs or something like that, right? And so I told my dad, hey, I'm thinking about joining the military. He's like, man, I pay that money for your college, and I've been telling you to join the military the whole time. I was like, all right. So he's like, all right, you gonna go? I said, yeah, I'm gonna go talk to the recruiter. I didn't say anything about the Marines. He thought I was joining the Army. And so I went there, signed, did everything and everything, took the ASVAB. I thought I failed the ASVAB too. And but you know what? I got a 67 on the ASVAB. So I was like, what? I didn't know what that was. And the recruiter was like, oh man, you did good. So I wound up doing that. And I signed out and I told my dad, hey, I want to go infantry. And my dad was like, why would you want to do that, man? Now, infantry reserves, that's what I wanted. He said, no, go active duty, because you join the reserves, the active duty got more benefits and everything that can actually help you and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And so he was like, and why you want to join infantry? Do something that you could use later on and blah, blah, blah. Because he was he got drafted during that the Vietnam time, right? So he went infantry, then they made him artillery. He never went to Vietnam. When he was getting ready to go to Vietnam, and the week before he was supposed to go to Vietnam, they sent him to Germany. So he was in Germany at the time because the president signed orders not to send any more troops to Vietnam and everything. So he's like, nah, just do this. So I was like, okay, okay. And so I went and I told the recruiter, I said, I want to do LAVs. I want to do communications. And I forgot the third one. The third one was something else. I forgot what it was. Came back and they said, yo, hey, it was communication / electrician. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. Whatever. And I thought I was going to get communications or something, a comm person or something. And that's what happened. I went back, told my dad, hey, I joined the military. He said, oh yeah, I'm gonna take you go see my buddy and your cousin up to, I forgot the name of the base in New York and everything. And so it was an Army base. And I was like, why you keep saying Army? He said, you didn't join the Army? I said, nah, man, I joined the Marines. He said, what? Sure you could do that? He said, you sure you could do that? I was like, what? That hurt my feelings right there, bro. I said, yeah, I could do it. Yeah, I could do it. And he said, well, you quit piano lessons. you quit martial arts. I said, Dad, martial arts? That was in middle school. Middle school ended. That was part of the gym, like the gym class and everything. So that's what happened. Then, I went to boot camp, and that was in November 1994, bro. November 1994. And then I retired in 2000. I retired and went through my whole career, retired in 2016, went to Haiti, Iraq, and Afghanistan, Guatemala. Did I say, yeah, 82. Yeah. And then after that, retired in 2016, out and retired here into California, had a wife, had 3 kids. and had a
Congratulations, bro.
hustle, man. And you know what? I was only going to join for 4 years, but
That's
something that's, it just something, I was having fun before all the war and stuff started. I was having a lot of fun, and so I, did my first re-enlistment. I was like, I'm gonna re-enlist. I'm having a lot of fun, and then everything went through, and then 2016 happened. Got out and retired in 2016. Had a hustle to find a job. Worked a couple civilian jobs at the time, and then COVID hit, and seen one of my Marines around 2020 doing his thing on Twitch, video gaming. He was gaming. I was like, yo, and I'm a gamer. I grew up a gamer. My dad started me off at that back in during the day when they had arcades in the mall and stuff like
Yeah.
that when I was huge. And then I started, getting stuff. I can't even look myself in the camera, see my photo. I couldn't stand my voice. I just couldn't. And then I got like a shelf over here, right? And so it's a built-in wall shelf. And I had my little laptop up there. I had my little camera. I had my Xbox. And I'll get over there. I'm like, hey, hun, I'm gonna turn the camera on. She said, oh, shoots, do it. And I turn the camera on. I'm like this. I'll be 30 minutes and I turn it off. And I was like, and I kept doing that off and on. And then I kind of got used to it. And then my friend was telling me it was one of my old Marines. It was one of my sergeants. And he was one of my sergeants back in the day. He was telling me, hey, you need to get this, you need a capture card, you need to do all this. So I did all that and everything. And then I started gaming, and then had the cameras on, and then I was on Twitch, and then I seen Facebook had like a gaming program that they started. So I was like, yo, let me go ahead and do this. And I started watching it. It was like, damn, they're getting big on Facebook with this gaming thing. There's a lot of huge people here. You had Ronda Rousey pop up in there. You had some UFC people. You had some online celebrity people hop up in there. You had a lot of different people in there from celebrities doing it. And so I was like, yo, let me go ahead and do it. So I started doing it, and then you started seeing the troll. So I used to tell people that, hey, if you're a streamer, because I started off as a streamer and a gamer, it's disappointing. You're gonna see like 4 or 5 people in there. You may only see 2 people in there. And at the time, there was 3 people watching me, man. It was me on my PC, it was me on my cell phone, it was me on my I had a tablet watching
It's
myself.
always like that. It's
Yes,
always like that.
talking to myself, man. You got to do that. Like there was 100 people in there, and then I get the trolls coming in there, and they be trolling me too. Yo, look at this guy. He ain't no Marine. Blah blah blah, and this and that. And I'm like, and at the time, I was thick skinned, coming up in the Marines, and then doing recruiting duty for 3 years. You got to be thick skinned, but man, when I got on in front of that camera and people started coming in, trolling me, I was like, yo, fuck this, fuck you, and everything. And then I got used to that, and then it just started rolling, man. And then all these veterans started. I remember it was a Marine, him and his wife. They must have been drinking or something. Yo, they came in there and they were like shouting me out, and they were just they gave me my first what they call stars on Facebook, like as digital money. They just started dropping it, and I was like, yo, and I was like, man, this is crazy. And everything from there, man, just started getting big and more veterans coming in. And I used to
around what year we talking about with Facebook?
this is 2020. 2020. Okay. It was COVID, the COVID time. People was home. I still had to go out and work and everything while people still at home and stuff. Like a lot of people at home. I still had to go out and work. So I come home from work, come in here at like 5 p.m., 1700, and then freaking turn everything on and get there and start gaming and stuff. And people start coming in, I get the little adult beverage and everything start getting good. And it just started popping, bro. And then I started seeing my numbers, like my CCV, your people watching all at once. And it's just started going up 100, 200, 300. And you get nervous. You start seeing that, and you're like, "Oh shoot, I'm playing Call of Duty. I gotta get this win." Get my ass kicked. And then I started talking to people, and I started talking to the crowd and stuff, and then that's how everything started building up from there. Because you talking to people, forget about winning, talk. That's what they're there for. when you call out somebody like, yo, Jake, what's up, man? And they watching you and they hear their name, they're like, oh shoots, yo, he talking to me. Yeah, you start chatting and stuff. That means something to them and stuff like that, and to different people and everything when you communicate with them. And so that started building up. And then the people like my teammates, some of them were former military or people that love the military and stuff like that, but they were mostly in the military, Army, Marines. I had one Coast Guard guy. He was like unicorn, and but they were part of my teammates, and some of them became my mods and everything. And they were just like, just get there and we'd be playing a game, everybody's drinking and everything, it'd just be popping in the crowd, and you'll see the chat going crazy, laughing and everything, because it is like the interaction and stuff. And we're winning games, coming down, winning games, and we're like buzz as hell and everything like that. And it was just like, man, it was just classy. And that's how all that stuff blew up. And then and then I would do the whole, and I'll be up in camouflage paint and stuff like that with my flak on and everything. And people be
You're
like,
doing the damn thing, okay? Okay.
And hey, and after that, freaking, they become you get one stupid troll coming here saying some racist stuff or whatever. And I had people from all over. My mom's from all over and stuff like that. And they like, and I'm like, oh, hey. And I stopped the game. Hey, stop the chat. And I just start going off and shit. And they'd be like, yeah. And my moms be like, type it in like, hey, Gunny, let us get him and stuff like that. And some of them like, they're Marine, like again, they're Marines. They're out now, but Marines, Army and stuff like that. Let us get him, Gunny. Let us get him. And I'm like, whew. And then you start seeing the numbers go up. People watching this stuff, laughing and like, yeah. And they start jumping on the troll and stuff like that. And man, I used to love that. Then I would have to calm it down. I'm like, all right, let's get it back. And man, it was crazy. And then the way that started is Facebook had the partner programs. And so I applied to one of the partner programs, and then I would see Facebook hop in my chat all the time, and they dropped me some stars too. I'm like, yo, what's going on here? Facebook's up in here.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And then I'm sitting there and I had like right now I got 3 screens over here, but I had like 4 screens. And then when I die, I'll look at my emails, and all of a sudden I got an email from Facebook saying, hey, we want to invite you to the partner program and blah blah blah.
Congratulations
on contract. And I was like,
that's what's up.
And then that's how it all started and stuff. They put me on contract.
That's
bro.
That's how
it all started. So I started off as a streamer and gamer, and then they had some issues.
Let's pause 1 second. Let's pause 1 second.
Yeah.
So you're saying though, all of this was before you started even doing the kind of skits that I've seen you do?
Yes.
This was straight gaming before you blew up for everything else.
Gamer. Strictly on Facebook on the contract. Yep.
Damn. Okay. Let's give everyone a visual. I'm gonna run some of your videos.
Yes, sir.
Some of your most popular recent videos real quick.
Be honest. What's one sentence only military people understand? The kind that needs no explanation. Civilians hear it and think nothing of it. Military hears it and already knows what's coming. Drop it in the comments.
Where's it coming from? Contact left.
Get it in there. There you go. Fire!
Down the way.
Fire.
Transition.
All right, I want to apologize for so much of that being cut off, right? But at least I was able to give the audience at least some idea of what it's like to see Marine1169 doing his motherfucking thing. If you don't mind, though, let's jump right back into how you eventually got to doing your skits and everything that you're doing now.
Yeah. So what happened is eventually, because I stopped working at the time. I was making the money that I was making better than the job that I was working at, and the job that I was working at, I was doing good. But I just couldn't, so I couldn't stand working there for one thing,
That's
because
how it is.
it's just dealing with dumb people. I was doing stuff the manager was doing. The manager was saying in his office, I was working as a maintenance supervisor for a popular food company at the time. 5 minutes from home, man. Literally 5 minutes from home. But I couldn't stand working there because the higher ups was just stupid, And so my manager was hired in the office and went and be like, when stuff happened down to the equipment and stuff like that down at the down on the floor, what we call the floor and stuff like that. And everything. He was like, "Oh, what's going on down there? What's going on?" So I'll be down there all the time. I'll be down there with the crew and stuff, get on in there, getting dirty with them and stuff. He's sitting in the office hiding. And so the plant manager would get so pissed off, like, what's going on? He come chew my ass for no reason, right? And so I'm like, yo, and I had no trouble talking to the plant manager. I worked with him at another spot, and he knew how I was. Anything happened, the manager be like, I don't know if so and so is gonna say it, whatever. So I used to get up and be like, hey, I got this. I used to go in the plant manager's office and be like, hey, yo, check this out. This is what's going on, blah, blah, blah. Okay, man. I had, you know how it is. You're a Marine, you get to a certain point, you're like, fuck this. I'm just gonna
Fuck
go
that
in there.
shit, bro. Fuck that shit, dog.
Fuck it. I'm just going there, and that's how I am. If I see something wrong or somebody being treated wrong or whatever, I'm gonna go in there and say something. I don't give a goddamn shit what you're gonna say. Man, I love this podcast because I could curse. And so
hey, do you, bro? Do you?
So I would do that, right? And he was sitting, and so I just hated the way the plant treated the people and stuff. I'm like, I can't stand this. And I used to voice my opinion all the time. And then, and then I was, anyway, get back on track. So I want to leave in there, right? And I talked to my wife and everything and said, I want to, just work from home and this and that. There's a lot of people doing it, and we talked it over, and then I wound up doing it, and I started working for my, just working, plus I'm retired. So I had that little extra cushion of income coming in from being retired, disability, or whatever. So I'm like, yo, I don't have, let's just. And so she agreed. And next thing you know, I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I'm working from home every day. Monday, I ain't got to deal with no Monday shit. All right. So I was doing that. Only thing I had to do was stream, but I was streaming from like 7 to 8 hours, man, because there's a certain amount of hours you had to put in. If you want that guarantee, just to guarantee, the bottom guarantee, you better got to do those hours. And then everything else was extra, like the stars and like the stars and subscriptions and stuff was extra. So while I'm doing that and everything, and that worked out.
I need to ask you then. Are you telling me you had to come up with 7 to 8 hours of ideas and content on the fly?
No,
or just playing the game?
This is gaming. This is just gaming.
It's
just gaming.
Okay.
So it was just gaming. So I was sitting there 7 to 8 hours, streamer gaming, and then that happened and stuff like that. And then the next year, and the contract got a little bigger and stuff. And then Facebook had that layoff. Boom. They had a huge layoff. It was going through the gaming industry, tech industry, period. And so I was like, yo, and so they held our contracts, said, yo, we know you got to hold off. And then I got lucky because of networking and stuff. I held on to a contract. People that were supposed to get a contract didn't get a contract. But just networking and stuff, talking to people, like shaking hands. Hey, what's going on? Hey, you got this going on? I'll do it. You got that going on? I'll do it. I did something for Oculus, you know, the MetaQuest
Oh, yeah,
VR.
yeah.
Did something
That's
for
what's
that. It's
up,
like
bro.
a little commercial thing. And for Resident Evil, their biggest game at the time. You can only watch it, to this day, you can only watch it in the MetaQuest. Right. So
That's what's up with the
it,
VR
it,
headset.
it was all on me, man. Bro, they built a set around me. I had a hair, I had a
What?
hairdresser. I didn't even have hair, and I had a hairdresser, right? Hairdresser, wardrobe, the food. I was in that VR for from 9 o'clock in the morning, 09 in the morning to like 2000 at night, bro. I got nauseous, everything. But
Where was it
it's
filmed at?
it was filmed in LA, because
Oh,
I'm in the
wow.
LA area. And
Okay, okay.
so it was filmed out here in the studio that they have. And they did the whole thing set around me playing the game and all sorts of stuff, man. That was badass. And then that's where I was like, I like this. I love this. I want to do this. I like this environment. I love this. And everybody was cool. And I was like, this is what I want to do. So time goes on. They gave me a contract, and then they ended the contract early because they wanted you to say, hey, we're going to let you go so you could get your content on all the platforms, stream live on all the platforms stuff. I was like,
That's
fuck that.
what's
I'm
up.
with this contract right now at the
That's
time
what's
because
up.
it was before Christmas. I was like, what? You know, I was like, oh. So I went through some hard time with that. And then like, damn, I need to find a job again. But I just stayed with it and everything. Then my partner manager that was my partner manager then, was transitioning to the Instagram side of you know, because they're under the umbrella of Meta. She was
Right.
transitioning there, but she was like, hey, she kept like a couple people that she was real good with, close, me and another guy that was, you know, like there all the time, did everything they needed, you know, like when any opportunity came up, we were there. Kept us there. She said, hey, won't you try doing like a like food review or something like that? Change your content up and everything. Because when they do that, when they tell you that, they can't tell you directly, although they want you to. Like the gaming thing is dead. Go away from it. If on this level,
Oh,
but they
that's what they
can't
were
tell
doing.
you,
Okay.
but they can't tell you because of
Okay.
NDAs and all this other stuff. So I was like,
Okay.
yeah. I started doing that on Instagram. People do some stupid stuff with some food and stuff, crazy stuff, and I would get over there like, what in the Blue Falcon is going on here? And I start doing that, right? And I'll be in like I had like a red Kango on, no shirt, my flak jacket, and I'll hop in there. And that thing started taking off on Instagram. And so I was like, huh. And then and then later on, I started doing that. It's like, I don't like doing this with this food. I'm putting people's crazy creations down, and I don't like that. And so, and then there was another guy, LMG. LMG, he was a gamer partner too on Facebook. And he said, bro, change the content up, do this. And he started doing reactions to videos. So I was like, you know what? How am I gonna do a reaction to these videos? Let me change it up my way, my audience. Let me do it, you know, it's military stuff. Let me find military stuff. So, you know, everybody pitting content, military people pitting content online and stuff. So that, you know, or people doing crazy stuff happening. So I was like, you know, let me go ahead and dress myself up and if I'm there and then react to it. You know, the same look you would have on your face if you seen something crazy happen. I was like, especially as a gunny or something like that, you're like, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm like, so I said, you know, let me do that. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna act it out and stuff. And I had a video, bro. I had to delete it because I got hit for demonetization. I didn't know what was going on at the time. I should have left that video up there because it wasn't a video. And that thing hit 81 million views on Facebook, bro.
What?
81 million.
Congratulations, man.
And so, like, if anybody, content creators out there on YouTube, Facebook, mainly right now, and maybe a couple others if you get in their program, the way you get paid is through ads. They put ads on your videos, right? Your videos are there to keep people there on that platform. And then they'll throw an ad underneath or in between so you could watch that video. These companies are paying, like, it's just like TV. And this is why I explain it to the generation that don't understand content creation or any of that stuff. It's just like when you had radio back in the day. Everybody gathered, the family gathered around the radio, and they're looking at listening to the radio, and then they throw an ad in there, right? And some jingles, right? Those companies are paying the radio station or whatever money to run that stuff. So you as a person could act, and your family could sit around listening to that stuff, and I'm gonna go get the cereal or something like that, right? And then TV came along, and then TV popped up, and they run commercials and stuff in there. You sit there and watch those commercials. Companies pay those stations money, right? They paid the actors. They paid the people that's eating that cereal or whatever. And then came along the internet, right? And then the internet came along, and companies are like, oh, we're going to pay these companies. We're going to pay this company, Facebook and Meta, to run ads on their platform, and YouTube, we're going to pay them to run ads on their platform. But, they just need to find the people that they got to run the, find the people to bring people there, content creators or whatever, actors or whatever you want to call them, to bring people to that platform so we could run these ads. And when they run those ads, they're going to click, because I do it all the time. I click, oh shit, I like this. Let me go ahead and click this. And all right. And then that's how they make the money. But you as a content creator, you get a little piece of that if you're monetizing that platform. May not be a lot, but it adds up, right? And you could actually make money off of that and stuff like that. And then, so that's what happened with me. I started doing that, and I was like, yo, I'm already monetized as a partner. When I was a partner on Facebook as a gamer, they gave me all the monetization tools right away. I didn't have to wait for anything else because I was a partner. So they hooked, it was all up in there. I used to go to events, man. I used to go to events that looked like I could have swore I was in a movie. Right? I'm like, wow. And then next thing you know, you end up in a picture on the internet, Getty's images and all this other stuff. And I'm like, wow. See, people I was following for years, man, I'm standing next to them like this. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? Hit smack. And then you see them at another event and we're like, yo, I remember you. Hey, yeah, what's going on? And then the third time they'd be like, oh, what's up, man? What's going on, bro? What's up? You doing all right? Yeah, I'm doing all right. And that's networking. And then you keep in touch with those people. So I used to do that and stuff like that. I don't know if you know Cobby Lane. He was the biggest.
I heard the name.
Cobby Lane, he was the biggest creator. I don't know if he still is, on TikTok. Black dude from he's from Italy, but he's actually from somewhere in Africa, right? And he used to just come up there and react to a video, and he'd be like that and stuff like that, and he millionaire now, and the only thing he did was and or something like that, and and then next thing you know, you see him on Samsung stuff, you see him on these commercials, on millionaire. And he was at an event. I went to a TikTok event. And no, first one I went to an event. It was in LA, VidCon, and I met him there. And I was like, "Yo," and took a picture with him and everything like that. Second time I seen him was a couple years later, and he was like, I seen him walking by, and I was walking with my partner, same partner manager, my old partner manager, the very first one, but she was working for TikTok. And she was in charge of the gaming side. And she asked me to come over and do some gaming stuff over there. But I was at an event and we walked by. I said, yo, I took a picture with him like before Cobby. And he was like, hey, he's got, again, black dude, Italian from Africa. So he's got an Italian, hey, when did you take that picture? And I was like, about 2 years ago. He said, we got to take it again. And so little later, because he's walking with his manager, and I got with him. I said, Cobby, here's the picture. We took the picture. We took another picture together, and then we started talking and stuff. And he was like, hey, no matter, hey, there's content out there for everybody. Just do what you got to do. You know, don't worry about the trolls and everything like that. Just do you. And then he hit like they interviewed him doing like a live broadcast and stuff. TikTok did like a live broadcast with him, and then he just talked and everything. I was like, yo, you know, because a lot of people didn't hear his voice because the only thing he used to do is and stuff like that. And that was his signature stuff. Then he ended up in movies, all this stuff, man. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna just continue with this. So I started doing the reactions and stuff like that. And man, it just took off. I would just overload on the Facebook side. And then I said, it's working over there. I'm stuck over here on YouTube right now. Let me just go ahead and just throw some content in, and it started taking off over there. And so that's what happened, man. And I just kept going with it and just having fun with it, bro. Find some crazy stuff on the internet, just reacted to it, you know, with some military gear on and stuff, things I could relate to, just having that look like, see, because there's a lot of stuff you know, being in the Marines, you see a lot of crazy stuff, and you just can't believe that it actually happened.
You
Right?
damn right. That's the
You tell
story,
somebody
everything.
else- You tell somebody else, and you're like, "What the fuck?" Hey, they don't believe you. You know, civilians don't believe you, and you're like, "Nah, bro, this actually happened." And then I'll get Marines that was there will be like, "Yo, bro, that was so funny." I said, "Yeah, you know, I did that skit off of you remember so and so? Yeah, I remember him. That's who it was about." And then they were coming to me, yo, like one of my boys that when I was at Lejeune, he used to talk to me. He just 2 days ago he was bringing up some old stuff, and I was like, "Bro, that was funny. You remember this?" Like I just told a joke, not a joke, but I did like a little thing about that person, those people. You always got these people, and it's always that one person. Like I had a like we were partying in Greenville, Greenville, North Carolina, right? When I was at Lejeune back in the day, and my we knew some friends that they had an apartment and stuff. They were college students and stuff like that. So we partied, went back to their place and everything, and we crashed out there. And I was on vacation. I was actually on leave. Everybody else was on a 96 and stuff like that. But I was actually on vacation. I was gonna drive home to New York. So we took 2 separate cars. And one of my boys that was in my actual platoon, bro, he got so drunk, man. And I didn't know what happened. So my other boy was there. He was there with him. And then when I got back from leave, he said, "Hey, bro, you heard what happened to so and so?" I said, "What?" He said, "The girls didn't tell you?" I said, "No, they didn't tell me." I said, "What happened?" He said, "Bro, old boy was so drunk he took a shit on the couch." I said, "What? Took a shit on the couch?" They said, "Yeah, he took a shit on the couch, and then he blamed it on the dog that died 2 weeks ago." I said, "Oh man, oh bro." And they said, and when I talked to them, I said, "I apologize." He said, "Please don't bring him back up here. Don't bring him back." I said, "Yo," and old boy was in my platoon, so I had to see him the next day, and I was like, "Bro, oh man," I ain't saying nothing to him, right? But everybody else in the platoon and stuff like that, I said, "Yo, check this out." It's all, man. It was just like, bro. And when I tell people that story, me and my boy now, we were laughing about this. Is years later, man. Years later, we're laughing about it and stuff. And he laughed every time we tell that story. We just laugh, man. But it's the stories, man. And so I remember, I'm like, yo, when people were like, when it happens, you tell those stories, people don't believe you, man. But like, I got so much of those stories in my head. And I just go back, like I was thinking, like I take years. I go, like, what happened during this time when I was here? Oh, bro. And then I come up with these stories, and I tell it, and then a lot of people can relate to it. And then I love when people that were there will pop up in my comments and be like, "Bro, what's up, bro?" I'm like, "Yo," and they just say like, "Hey, I remember when that happened," or "I remember this," and I love that because it helps me. It brings back those memories and stuff for me, and it helped me relax. It helps me clear my thoughts, and I just laugh. And then with other people, they can relate to it too. mainly military, and it just helps them. And I get a lot of comments saying, "Hey, bro, thank you for helping me. It helped me a lot. This I was going through a lot, and I needed that laugh." And and a lot of times when I'm down, I'm like, "Bro, I just want to give this up." And then I get those little emails and stuff like that, and this happens so many times because I've been a content creator since 2020, and it's been a roller coaster, bro. Ups and downs, but this is what I want, and I just love making people laugh, especially veterans, man. And if it helps them and everything laugh and get through another day, that's all that matters. I know I
Right
keep
on.
talking, I'm just going on. I need to cut myself off, but
Hey man, you spit nothing but game and wisdom and knowledge. You see, I'm over here listening
I don't
and
want to bore
learning.
your peoples, man. I don't want to bore them.
No, it's not. Hey, everybody knows this is Global War Veteran Overtainment over here. I got 170 episodes just like this. Some go as long as 3.5 hours, some go as short as 20 minutes, dog. It's all about, being you, us relating, us to being able to, open up and talk about the shit we can't really talk to anybody else about.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
there's so many things we don't need to explain to each other, no matter where we are, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
I wanted to get into asking you about uh it was gonna be around military jokes, all
Yep.
right? We were gonna talk about some of your dumbest grunt jokes, all right? And
Yeah.
'cause I'm a grunt myself, so I love hearing some of them. When you being the kind of comedian that you are in personality, I swore I thought you just had millions on deck. I did.
I
I thought you
don't.
probably had millions of dumb grunt jokes stored
Mhm.
away, man. But since you don't, let's do it in reverse, if you
Yeah,
don't mind. You're
yeah.
one of the first times I can ever have a conversation where, let's say, the grunts aren't as dumb as everybody else tries to say
Oh,
we are and make us out to be, all right?
yes. So check it, man. I don't have any dumb grunt jokes because I learned a long time ago dealing with grunts, being and stuff like that, being around them and stuff is grunts. You to be a grunt, you got to be smart, man. You know, I struggle holding the compass and trying to find my direction. In Camp Lejeune, before Camp Lejeune did some renovations and stuff and building, I remember getting lost in the goddamn swamp and getting stuck in the swamp up to my knees because I'm
Wow.
trying to figure out the goddamn compass and stuff like that. True story, man. We got stuck. I was like, holy crap. Right in Camp Lejeune out the back gate, there was no road or anything back there back then. Like it is now, and no building. And yeah. So I learned a long time ago to be a grunt, you gotta be smart, man. There's a lot of different weapon systems and stuff like that. The different tactics and stuff. You gotta be smart. And I remember there was like I was part of I'm always in an engineer platoon, a unit or stuff like that, being part of utilities. We're always in engineers, so we always with the combat engineers, heavy equipment engineers, and stuff like that. But one of the units I was in, oh shit, yeah, it was there too. 370 MWS 370 screw, 372. That's but we used to call it screw because he used to screw you all the time, man. I was there twice. And so the first time I was there, I just remember you're gonna go on a sergeant course, and we always had grunts teaching us and stuff like that. And they used to be like, hey man, I just remember this one guy, you a grunt? I said, nah. He said, you got those instincts and stuff. We was at nighttime, like, and yeah, it's Pogues. It's more than Pogues. I make fun of Pogues and everybody. I got Pogue jokes, I'm Pogue one, right? And then and he was like, nah. He was like, because like at nighttime, you seem like you got like you see stuff, and they had made me put me up front as a lead, and I was like, stomping a platoon. We almost went over a damn cliff, and we almost literally went over a cliff, and I was, oh shit. Right. And then but it's just talking to him and stuff like that. And he's like, man, I said, nah, I'm from New York. He said, oh, that's what it is. You got those instincts and stuff. When there's danger and stuff. Yeah, it's true. And they used to say, And I heard other grunts say that, y'all. I like put my getting my people from the city and stuff like that because they know danger. They have an instinct for danger and stuff. And I see, yeah, I see some. Oh, I get those spidey senses and stuff. And I just talking to him, but talking to that one guy and everything, he was I just talking to him and listening to him talk and teaching us. I was like, nah, these grunts are smart, man. And then we had one guy when I was in Afghanistan. I was a gunny at the time. Shillings. I'm gonna say his name, Shillings. He would love hearing his name, Shillings. Master Sergeant. He was Master Sergeant Shillings at the time, and he was, man. This guy was smart, man. Every squad, every Marine Wings squadron, which supports the airfield and stuff like that. They're like all the, they support all the air units and stuff like that. They have engineers, motor T, comm, and all this other stuff, support side, right? And but they always have one infantry guy. They call him the infantry something of the squadron. But he's always there to do all the training, make sure everybody gets all the training and stuff like that. He's in charge of all the programs and everything like that when it comes to that stuff. And Shillings, man, he had just got back from Afghanistan. Grunt got back from Afghanistan, and then he got attached to us and stuff. And man, that guy just sitting down and talking to him, I'm like, man, this guy's smart as a motherfucker. God damn, just talking to him, right? And then when we went to Afghanistan to Leatherneck, what's the British side? Leatherneck. I got a brain fart right now.
No worries. Happens to the best of them.
Leatherneck Bastion. It was same base, but the British held the Bastion side. But we got put on the Bastion side, and a year before that, the compound where we were at had gotten attacked. It was the biggest attack in Afghanistan since Vietnam on an airfield. All right.
Really?
So yeah, and they lost 2 Marines. They destroyed 3 Harrier jets and everything, and they got repelled, right, by the aviation Marines. They got repelled. The Taliban got repelled and everything, and they took them, killed them, took them out and everything. That was a year before I got there. So when we showed up, we were also like engineer platoon. Hey, you guys are QRF for this side along with the Brits. Like, damn, all right. So they needed somebody to come in there and train us, other than the little bit of training that we had got before we got there and when we were there. So they brought Shillings there, and he's like, God damn it, I just got back from Afghanistan. Here I am back in Afghanistan less than a year later. And so he got there and he started training us, man. He just took us every day in the evening, just trained us how to look for XOs, unexploded. Was it UXD? Unexploded. Yeah. And how to do this, how to do that. Clearing rooms on the night vision, all sorts of stuff, man. We did that all the time. So we were doing our jobs and QRF, flying out the different fobs and everything. And but that guy was freaking smart. And he was a gamer too. I guarantee right now he's on Xbox playing right now. He picked up Master Guns, went back to the infantry. Great guy, man. Great guy. That guy, man. But so smart. And then my other boy, when I was on recruiting duty, he was a sniper, and he was just smart as hell, man. And we're friends to this day, man. Friends to this day. But he used to just talk to me and tell me some stuff. But my on the grunt side there. So again, I don't find any dumb grunts. You just have fun, break shit, kill shit, do your shit, and everything. And then on that side, like you have the pogue side, is everybody else other than a grunt, right? Now the way the lines are and stuff like that, when the grunts don't do the protecting the daggone freaking convoys anymore. I seen that in Iraq. They don't protect the convoys. They don't do certain other stuff that they used to do way back in the day. Grunts go out and do their thing now. everybody else that's in the rear, you got to do that stuff now. So there was people. It doesn't matter. I don't know how the Army is, but in the Marines, if you're, they say like it is. It doesn't matter if you're freaking an electrician, utilities or something like that. Those guys, some of those guys, was in, like a lot of my guys was in Fallujah, going with the combat engineers, blowing doors open and stuff like that with them, just going there with them and stuff like that, because the grunts were going in doing their things, and the combat engineers and everybody, utilities, because you're
I
engineer,
went twice,
you're
bro.
engineer,
I
and
went
you
to Fallujah twice, bro.
see, and that's what I'm saying right there. And they were going in there, they weren't doing their jobs, right? They weren't doing their jobs. Grunts going there doing their thing. Guess what? We got some other stuff that need to get done. You guys are going to do it, right? So a lot of times they use the combat engineers along with the utility engineers, and then utilities. Guess what? You're not running no, like, you're not running electricity or doing it. You're going with them. You know, we need you there. Convoys and stuff. When I was in Iraq, convoys, they had CRLR something, and then they had these. I forgot, man. It's so long ago. They had like these little, like, you're admin, you're a cook, your utility, whatever. Hey, we're gonna make you this little group, put you together. We're gonna train you. This is all you're gonna do. You're gonna just be guarding convoys, going back and forth. And they used to get hit all the time. IEDs, getting firefights. With the, at least with the Marines,
it's always
it's always gonna be something. It's always gonna be something. You're gonna get into some shit. You are. It doesn't matter. Hey, there are no divided lines really anymore. It's just different missions. You know, this is the grunts. This is their mission. This is where they're gonna go. They're gonna go take the fight to the enemy to go take them out and stuff like that. Look for them and take them out. You're gonna be guarding this. You're gonna be in those posts and stuff, man. So you'll see a lot of that. So at least with the Marines, you know. You're going to get into something. That's why I told my son to join the Navy. I said, hey, you want to get the easy way or the hard way? Said, okay. He said the ship could get blown up, but okay. That's like, all right. You know, so but yeah.
I want to take one quick second with you.
Yeah.
I want to show your episode of the 4th of July again, right?
Okay, yeah.
Your rendition, because I had a motherfucking reaction to go along with this story that I can only admit to you in order for me to, say it without me tripping too much about it. All right, Let me run it one more time.
Where's it coming from? Where's it coming from? Contact left. Contact left.
All right. Bro, let me tell you that one of my very first 4th of Julys after the war, I was in a suburban neighborhood with a golf course in the middle of it.
Ooh.
And I shit you not, I ended up in the middle of the fireworks, low crawling, not in terror or fear. I wanted to go take out where the sound of the fire was coming from. So it wasn't until I was low crawling halfway across this motherfucking golf course, bro, that I snapped out of it, looked down, saw this grass on my shirt and chest, and I was like, oh, you motherfucker, you did it again. What's wrong with you?
Oh, man.
That was one of the very first times I had to realize that everything people say about PTSD and fireworks, I did not. I thought that was a joke. I thought it was movies. I thought it was something that would just be funny as hell until I realized, because, for those of us that have experienced it, those sounds mean a lot of different things. You know what I mean? We will always be able to equate those sounds to different things. So I think it's amazing that you even have that. You touched on that in one of your examples.
Yeah, because like when we were in Iraq, we used to get mortared all the time. And I'm on a base. You know, I didn't even go outside the wire at the time yet. Right. But I'm on the base and we used to just get mortared all the time and boom, boom. And, you know, it's just like, and you feel the air pressure like kind of change around you a little bit. Right. And it's just like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
just, and I just remembered it was just one day that thing was just nonstop. And I was like, and I was looking at the other staff NCOs and they're looking at me and I'm like, God damn, when is this thing gonna stop? And it was just like, and then eventually and I'm not even infantry, but I'm just like I'm just jumping for no reason. You know, it's just like what the fuck
Yeah.
is going on here? You know, and then I just remember like in Afghanistan, man, I used to see Iraq. I used to see stuff off from a distance, right, and just like watch, like damn, right, like see stuff blowing up and stuff like that. Like holy crap, what's going on over there? You know, but it's at a distance. And then Afghanistan, same thing. And you're like, holy crap. And I just remember like there was one time a vehicle came through the front, the one of the main gates, and that thing went off, boom. And I just remember I was inside of one of the buildings, um, and everything. It was like a hangar, a tin building. I just remember it looked like the wall was coming in. And I was like, I was looking at the wall, like, holy crap. And everybody was like, and we just ran outside and looked, and they blew a truck up with an IED at the front gate. And it just like, just this huge plume and everything, man. It was just like, and you just like, man, what the? It was so loud, man. My ears are just like, it started like, it just hurt a little bit, like pierce. And then it started. Only thing I remember to this day is just a bad itching in my ears. And then, but when I seen that wall, it looked like that wall was coming towards me. I'm like, and I'm over here and I'm looking over there, and I kept thinking about when that base got attacked and that area got attacked at the time back then, like a year later, and right above right above my desk, there was a patch, and that it got hit with an RPG. And I remember seeing it on YouTube where it was smoking and everything, but and I'm just like, damn, what's going on here? Shit. Oh shit. All right. And I'm gonna tell you about a moment too.
All right.
A Pogue moment. And but yeah, I get those memories and stuff like that. But let me go back to this Pogue memory. Remember, I had the master sergeant Shillings, Grunt, teaching us and stuff. So we went through everything. We just went through everything. So we were like every night preparing in case there was unexploded stuff from the artillery artillery coming in and stuff like that, or if we were getting attacked and everything, because we had the sergeant major for the whole coalition over there. He was a Marine, and he stood there in front of us like a couple weeks before that, and he said, that attack that happened back then, because at the time back then the British was supposed to be manning all the towers and stuff. They manned every other 2 towers. And so that's how the Taliban got in and stuff like that. They have videos on YouTube talking about how they were going to plan to come in and everything, doing that attack and everything. And they actually did it and everything. Took out some Harriers, killed 2 Marines. They wound up all dying and stuff. And I used to walk those areas, okay, from looking at those briefs and stuff, and okay, this with that, just going over the scenario and stuff like that. But coming back, he's training and stuff, and then one night I'm sitting there, and I'm like, all right, okay, we good, and me and the staff NCOs man the radios all the time, and then I'm sitting there one night, and then I hear incoming. And I was like, what the fuck? Wait a minute. I had some earbuds and I took it out. I said, what the fuck? Incoming. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, oh shit. And what they told us during the time, hey, if you start hearing stuff explode, just get down on the ground and then start getting your stuff. So I'm like, what the fuck? Oh shit, I get it. I hop out of the rack. I roll out of the rack. My dumb ass roll out of the rack. Right, hit the floor, and I'm screaming, "Yo!" So I'm screaming at the other two staff sergeants, "Yo, wake up! We're getting hit! We're getting hit!" So he wakes up, and the whole time before this, Master Sergeant Shillings used to come in. Hey guys, hey, we hearing some chatter. We hearing some chatter on the comm radios. Taliban, they might attack us tonight. 100 Taliban coming through, so get you guys ready and stuff like that in case we need to blah blah blah. I was like, and so we like, oh shit. And he said, hey, what game is that on Xbox? He used to get over there and then he started playing Xbox, right? Because he was in charge of the whole security side and everything. And that's one of the main reasons why they brought him over there, because everything was all the way the Brits had it and everything, like their alert systems, everything was just all messed up. So and our CEO was in charge of that side of that bastion and everything. So they wanted to make sure everything was good. So they brought him there, and that's what he was mainly in charge of. And so he used to tell us that all the time. So we'd be all nervous and stuff, We ain't grunts. We like, oh shit. Oh, damn. And then he go play Xbox and then leave. But all the leading at the time, I hear that and stuff. And they wake up and they like, oh shit. And they jumping around, and I'm picking on my stuff, and I hear someone knocking on the door and stuff. And I open it up. Hey, Gunny, we on the attack. This is the Marines, right? And I'm on the ground like this. All this time we're preparing for all this stuff, but we acting like we don't know what we're doing and everything. Like, hey, oh shit, well, go get your shit, put it on. Use at the MRAPs. But I mean, and this is just us not being infantry, not being used to this stuff and everything, and being pogues. I love saying pogues, man. I enjoy it. I embrace it, right? But we over here like freaking out and stuff, and it just show you that like, you could prepare for all that stuff, but if you had never been in that situation, that very first time or second time or whatever, it doesn't matter what you do, your body's gonna react a certain way.
Damn right. Damn right, bro.
And so we were like, oh shit, and I'm on the ground on my shit. Yeah, I used to sleep with all my stuff on, like my I used to have, my frog suit and all that, or coveralls and everything. And then that night I was like, oh shit, I'm trying to put my stuff on, my gear. Then we run out. It's so stupid, man. But and my staff sergeants was the same way. They're like, hey, they running around like chickens with their head cut off. The Marines, they got all the stuff. They didn't get all dressed. Some came out. Some came out. It just shorts, like their boxer briefs and everything. But they were ready, man. They were just ready, because it was just a build up all that time, man. And then, but Afghanistan was nothing like Iraq. Iraq, that was just different. I mean, Afghanistan, from what I understand, the stuff that they were doing, it was just more tactical. They were like really trained, but Iraq was different for us, the situation and stuff like that. But I used to have Marines call me, like our Marines friend, when I was on recruiting duty when it first started. I got sent to recruiting duty when it first started. Iraq. I'm going back now. When that first got started, and then I was on recruiting duty in 2002, from 2002 to 2005, and before that, we were supposed to go to Afghanistan. That's when 9/11 happened, right? 9/11 happened. Going back to that too. My mom was actually in the World Trade Center when it got hit. Right?
What?
She made it out. I'm not going to tear up. She made it out, and everything.
What?
Yeah, was running away from it. Got across the Brooklyn Bridge. Seen the buildings. The second plane hit the second building, and then she watched the buildings come down. So yeah, so that meant a lot to me, and I used to like go on top of those buildings, on school trips and stuff like that. And right before that, I know I'm jumping everywhere. Right before that,
you good, boys? I follow the track.
Yeah. Okay. Right before that, my wife and I, we went to New York, because I just got married like a little before that. Went to New York, went up in the World Trade Center, and I just remember standing there. My mom was working at the World Trade Center at the time. I said, "Yo," it was the same year. I said, "Oh, let's leave. I don't want to leave. Feel like it's in case something hit these buildings or something." Like that's exactly what I said. And then we left the observation deck, went back, met my mom and stuff like that, and then went home. Right, and then September 11th happened. Boom. I was on a rifle range at Camp Pendleton as a sergeant, and that happened. And I was like, kept hearing like, what's going on? Oh, building hit I thought it was a little Cessna plane, a little tiny plane, and then they
We
said it was
all did. We
it was
all
a
did.
big plane, like one of the bigger planes. Like, oh shit! And then it said the plane came down, and if you want to see me cry that day, that was the day. I got a story on Instagram when I talk about that, and that was the day. If you want to see me cry, I cried. And then I remember the staff non-fire and one of the sergeants was like, "Hey, let's try to get you off." And so I went over to the center line, and there was two chief warrants to stand there, and they said, "Hey, his mom was in World Trade Center. We want to try to get him off." So you go back home and try to call, and he said, "Son, these things happen." And I looked at him, and I just wanted to freaking put my fucking fist through his freaking face, man.
Yeah.
And he said, "These things happen." And the other chief marshal looked at him like he was crazy. Like, "Oh, did he really just say that?" And I just looked at him. Yeah, I smiled like this. I like the Joker.
Yeah.
And I remember the sergeant, that one sergeant, he pulled me aside. He said, "Bro, hey, don't worry about that." And the staff sergeant had a government cell. He said, "Hey, call anybody. I don't care. I'll take the hit. Call your mom. Try to call home. I don't care." So they want to get me. I want to leave in regular time off the rifle range and everything. But I want to talk to her. I want to talk to her later that evening and everything. She got away from the World Trade Center, talked to her and everything. Because at the time, no calls could get through. There was no, and stuff like that. It was weird. No planes in the sky and everything. And so that happened and everything. And then I don't even know how I got to that point. I'm talking about this. But
Hey, this is deep. I've never heard
yeah.
either from a Marine or from someone that's connected to 9/11. Have I ever heard anything like what you're saying, bro? So the fact that you were in both shoes is blowing me away.
Yeah, that's when things got
You
real.
actually been in the buildings before.
Yeah. Oh God, yes, all the time. And early that year, my wife and I, and we still had our IDs that we had to do because before that they tried to bring the World Trade Center down. When they rolled a vehicle, a van inside underneath in the parking lot. Yeah, and my mom was going. She had she used to work there before that too, but she had gotten laid off, and she was going to go meet one of her friends at the World Trade Center that day, and she decided not to go. And that was that one day, right? And then I remember going back then. I was young. I wasn't even in the military, and I remember back then. I'm going way back now. My uncle that had worked for the presidents and stuff, he was there in New York because the president flew there to go see the damage and stuff. So he met my dad and I, and we actually just drove past the World Trade Center during that time at nighttime. After that event had happened and they had the whole place cut off and stuff, and he just drove by just to show us and stuff like that. But that was way back then. But yeah, my mom was going to the World Trade Center. She's like 9 lives, man. 9 lives. And then that happened and everything. I just remember being on the range, and then they said, "Get ready for Afghanistan." So I was like, okay. So we started getting ready for Afghanistan, and everything. I was with that same unit, 370 Screw, when the story that I told before going with them to Afghanistan, I was a gunny. Back then I was a sergeant, and I was with them too. And so we started getting everything ready and everything. And then they told us, they said, "Hey, the advanced party is going to leave," and the advanced party left. Right. So the advanced party left. And then right a week before we were supposed to leave, they said, "Hey, we're not going to Afghanistan." I was like, what? The advanced party actually went to Tajikistan, because we were going to go outside of Afghanistan to Tajikistan because we were part of to support the air wing flying out of there. and everything. And so they said no. And so General Bolden, he was the first black astronaut in charge of NASA.
Really?
Yeah, and he was in charge of third Marine Air Wing in California, um, and everything. This is just before he took over NASA, but he was an astronaut though. He was still an astronaut, but he was in charge of third Ma. But NASA still in the Marines and everything. And he came out himself to talk to us and said, "Hey," came to our unit and said, "Hey, we're not gonna let's let you know we're not going to Afghanistan and everything. We want you to get this is what's going on. We want you to get ready for Iraq." So we knew about Iraq way before we went to Iraq, right? at least a year. Yeah, about a year. So we started getting ready for Iraq and everything. Yeah. And it was top secret. But the newspaper came out with this saying, "Hey, units are getting ready for Iraq." And blah, blah. These are the units that's going. Yeah, and we were like, "Oh, these top secret meetings or secret meetings," and this is supposed to be secret, and they had to close doors and we can go in there and stuff. I was a platoon sergeant. I had to bring stuff up to my gunny and stuff like that. And they open the door, take the paperwork, pull it in there, and they're in there with the CEO and all these other people, screens and everything, all this stuff. And then we hear it's top secret. I'm like, "Yo, look at this! It's already in the paper." Yo, we gotta be quiet about it. Yeah, so we knew about Iraq and everything, and then I got orders to recruiting duty, and a few months before the first push to Iraq and everything like that. So everybody that I was training with and all that, getting ready and stuff like that, they all left. I went to recruiting duty and everything. So I had to deal with that stuff like that, trying to recruit and at that time, and nobody was coming in. Then as soon as the war kicked off, they went across that line out of Kuwait. Everybody started coming in, man. Like, "Oh yeah, shit!" I'm like, "Yo, I'm recruiter of the year," and everybody was disqualified, man. I was like, "What?" You get like all those people, everybody disqualified. Like,
really?
Yeah,
I'm never hearing this behind the scenes stuff like this before. So a lot of people wanted to come join the Marines when they first started.
After the war kicked off, nobody wanted to join up until then.
Yeah.
As soon as they went across that line, I remember being in the office, me and another recruiter, just listening to it on the radio and looking at it on the TV. As soon as they went across the line, the office started getting flooded. I was like, "Yo," and I was a brand new recruiter. Yeah, and then but you start testing them, like, "Man, this dude, bro didn't even get a 10 on the ASVAB on the practice one." Or, "When's the last time you smoked weed?" Like, "You want to be honest?" "Yeah, like an hour ago." Oh, along with this and this and that. I'm like, "Oh man." Yeah, it was crazy, man. But yeah, and then that happened, and then when I left recruiting duty, then that year, yeah, that was it was that year. Later that year, I went to Iraq, and everything, and then that's when we went to Iraq and everything. So yeah, it's yeah.
Well, can you let us know what can we expect from Marine 1169 in the future?
What you can expect is just me doing more content, trying to grow on all the other platforms and doing that stuff, and also just working with veterans and everything. That there's a couple of veteran organizations that hit me up and everything, and I just want to just kind of work with them to expand a little bit more to help, just make people laugh, man. I don't care if you're a veteran or not, just make you laugh, and just doing our thing, just so they could just get through another day. That's the main thing. People get through another. I don't care who you are, because I had a lot of friends that passed away, and everything, whether it be like through an accident, through suicide, or any other way and stuff like that. And it's just sad to see that, man. Whether they, doesn't matter what age, you just got to make it another day. Just keep pushing and stuff, sometimes I need that motivation just to keep pushing, with certain things, and it helps me out too. So,
Damn right.
just do your thing. Yeah, I mean, just be there for each other if we can. You know, um, that's what we need to do. But that's the main thing. Just do that, expand a little bit more on all the platforms. Work a little bit more like on a stage or something like that. Get out there. I don't do no comedy on a stage. I'll get up there and talk about some stuff. I'm not no comedian. Like I talked to a couple actual comedians, like what's his name? Witherspoon. You ever seen it Friday?
Yeah.
Oh man, the dad, Witherspoon.
Reese. I mean, John Witherspoon. John, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
his son, JD. Right. I spoke to him and I was talking to him at a YouTube event and I said, "Man, I don't know how you get up there and do comedy and stuff. I don't know it." He said, "Man, I just get up there and I just talk and I just do my thing." And I'm like, "I can't do that. I don't do that. See me right now. I'm everywhere. I go left, right, and you be like, what the fuck is he talking about now?" But I do that. And but
yeah, but you say that, bro. But from what you said earlier, you said that about not wanting to do what you're doing now too. So
I know.
there's nothing wrong with feeling that way at the beginning. But I mean, I believe you can handle that shit.
I don't know. I'll be looking at like hearing the crickets and stuff. I'm not no Cat Williams. I'm not no freaking Kevin Hart. I might be close to the height, but nah.
That's what's up, bro.
But I talk to people and stuff like that. I just like getting on there and just talking to people. I like things like this, just talking. I love podcasts. I love dealing with people just like you with the questions and stuff. Marines, any military, it doesn't matter, man. That we could just relate, and the stuff we talk about, we can just relate to. All right, I'm gonna be quiet because I know I'm just talking.
Bro, this is your show, man. You got to look at it more like, say you survived everything you survived, so that now you can have that microphone and finally be able to speak your truth, speak your journey, and actually talk to people who give a damn, because you're dealing with nothing but other veterans, law enforcement, first responders who get it. You know what I mean? You talking in front of the other people who get it. They can all relate to your story, relate to different aspects of things that you said, and it's like, this is what the fuck it's all about. We need to talk to, we need to talk to each other, because nobody else gets us like us. Nobody else gives a damn about us the same we give. And then equally, no one can respect what we know others have gone through in terms of the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, bro, what I hear and all when you talk about every time you went down range, bro, to another country, you experienced some shit.
Oh, Haiti, man. Ooh, Haiti was Anyways,
you want to speak on it? Go ahead.
Haiti was it. So okay, so going to Haiti. Oh, well, Haiti was it my first experience. Just deploying, going place. That's why I grew up in the Marines. I tell people that all the time. So it was I went to Haiti from 96 to 97. Right, I was supposed to go to Norway. Oh, we're gonna send you to Norway. I'm like, yes. I'm gonna I heard so many things about Norway and stuff. Yes, I'm going to Norway. And then they wound up sending my ass to freaking Haiti. Right. And I was like, man, all right, let's go. We get over there and stuff like that. And then I just grew up, man. It's just like the experience over there is just first deployment. I was a lance corporal. And just dealing like anytime you went outside the gate, you were always armed, always had a comm radio, and everything. Pepper spray, that was the thing. Pepper spray, make sure you have your weapon, pepper spray, and a comm radio. So we did all that, and in civilian clothes. And so we did all that and everything. So it was just my first experience, just seeing everything. And then the only death that I witnessed over there was our own was one of my friends. He was his rack was right next to mine in the hooch. And I still got some of his CDs and stuff like that. And they took some of my gear and everything like that because he wound up committing suicide, man. And everything. And then I want to find it was
Over there
myself.
in
Yeah,
Haiti. Okay.
yeah, over a girl, all right, his girlfriend and
I
everything.
was just about to ask you if it had
It's
anything to do
always
with
a lot of times is that. A lot of times. Well,
yeah.
you know, and everything. And then I was just like, I remember seeing we had like a what they call a fun run. And so it was all the coalition. You had anybody from NATO and everything like that. And we were like doing a run. It was a 6-mile run on the Port-au-Prince airport around it. And so we did that, and they had food and beer and all that stuff for us at the end and everything. And I just remember me and my boy, we seen him, and he was on the phone. That's when he was on our phone, on a payphone, like not a payphone, but it was a little phone where you could call. You had to call when you overseas, and they call over here to this, and they connect you to this Air Force base, and they connect you to home and all this other stuff. And so he was on the phone, and me and my boy, we were like, man, so tired from the run and then drinking beer and all that. And then we just went back, we crashed out. And then I just remember hearing it, boom, 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 boom. Yo, Lance Corporal so-and-so left a suicide letter in the company office. Like, what? Oh, and I just remember getting up. My boy was still knocked out. I got up, ran out there, and they said, hey, we need to go try to find him. So we ran around this little compound. It was a little compound, small compound, not that big. And I was looking, and I wore glasses, and I didn't have my glasses at the time. Oh, I had the birth control glasses.
Yeah.
I had those on, and it had but there was two. They didn't have no transition glasses. So this was just a sunglasses one, and I had the sunglasses one on. So anytime I went in the building, it was dark. I was like, man. So I remember going in, I'm trying to check, and I came out of the building, and there was a corpsman laying there, and old boy was laying there and everything, and he shot himself in the head, and I was like, oh shit. And I'm like looking, he's like, hey, go get the rest of the corpsman, go get the rest of the corpsman. I just remember taking off, boom, went in there, and got the rest of the corpsman. They came out and everything, and then I went and got my boy. He was still sleeping. He's like, what? Got him. He came, but they wouldn't let nobody over there. But yeah, he had shot himself in the head, man. And then later on, we found out it was over his girlfriend. Because they CID came out there, they interviewed us, and everything, and told us what happened. And I was like, yo. And then they had the area quarantine off, with the yellow tape and everything. But it was like that for at least 2 or 3 weeks, man, for their investigation. And in Haiti, it's hot. So it's right next to the armory. Because what he did is he went in the army and talked to the armory guard, went in the army. He went in, not the army, the armor and everything. Went in there while the guy was playing video games, took a pistol, took it out. Right behind the armory, shot himself in the head. So what we did is, like, every time we go get our weapons to clean it, it's right there. And you'll still see, and it smells so bad. Blood and everything, you get that smell. And it was just in the heat. And it was just so bad. And I'm like, bro. And we clean our weapons. It's right next to it. And then you still see the brain matter and all that stuff on the side of the Connex box, the blood in the gravel. And it was, come on, man. And it was just like, I remember making a comment because I didn't know any better. I was like, God damn, what the hell is that smell? It smells like something died. And I am not thinking. And I remember my corporal looked up at me. I said, oh shit, that's right. Fuck. And can't get that smell out of my head. Even later on, you see, bodies and stuff. You still can't get that smell.
It's definitely
it's there. Yeah. I'm smelling it now.
Yeah.
And everything like that. So that's anywhere. But I just remember that right there. I just remember getting on the phone with my mom, calling, and she's like, what's wrong? And I was like, and I told her what happened, and I just cried. But I tell everybody, that's why in the Marine Corps where I grew up there. And then during that time, I started getting I was like thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna die. This is gonna happen. Blah blah blah. Things just started going through my head and stuff like that. I was worried. And then I just remember getting a letter from a friend from back in the rear and stuff like that, which I wasn't even expecting. And I was like, that letter I think saved my life. I've always said that because I just go, first time going through those doors and you wonder what's going on, what's this? And like, what's going on? Really dealing with death. And then I got that letter, and that letter just did something where it just felt like something just came off my shoulders. And like, okay, I'm good and everything. But that particular person sent me that letter and that I wasn't expecting out of nowhere. And I've always said that letter saved that letter helped me, man. That letter helped me. Um, of course, I dealt with death after that many, many times, but I was good at that first time was hard to deal with. And then, seeing that, it helped me deal with other things later on. But that I grew up there and everything like that. And then, we go out again, going out, just walking out there. You had a lot of gangs and stuff shooting at the Pakistanians, shooting at these people. They never shot at us. And everything was weird. Or we get in a situation where that's the thing with me in my career. Like, I never got in a direct situation. Always had mortars or something around us. Never got in a direct situation. Or something happened before we got there, or it happened after I left.
Right.
So I consider myself lucky. I understand maybe being like a grunt, you want to go take the fight to the enemies. That's just your job and everything like that. But me, I always consider myself lucky. I'm glad I didn't get in those situations. Only reason being is because I know a lot of people that didn't make it out of those situations.
Right.
Whether I knew grunts or whether knew people that weren't grunts and stuff like that. Man, I used to get like I said back on recruiting duty, I used to get calls from some of the guys that we put in. They were infantry, they were grunts, and instead of calling their family, they're calling me. Hey, Status Sergeant, yo, we just got in this, and man, we got fucked up, man. This happened. They telling me detailed stories. I'm like, bro, you good? All right, do me a favor. Call your mom. Just talk to them real quick. Call your family.
Yeah.
Just talk to them. Don't tell them all the details, but just call them. And me being a recruiter dealing with that at the time, I was like, yo, I don't know. Shit. Holy crap. Yo, hey, Lee just told me this, man. What? So-and-so just told me this. What? And they telling me, and they calling me like after getting out of a firefight and stuff, and they get a chance to call home, and they calling me. I mean, now I think of it like, man, I should just talk to them a little bit longer, help because they probably could have helped them out and stuff like that. But I didn't know how to deal with it back then too. Especially back then when all the stuff, first really, shit started getting real, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where I grew up at, man, Haiti. Like dealing with that, seeing the different cultures and seeing how people live, man, the way people live. Bro, they didn't have morgues. And I hate keep getting more morbid here. They didn't even have morgues. We see like stuff burning. Man, why they burning that stuff? Because their morgues over there, they just it was not refrigerator or anything like that. They used to have bodies on meat hooks. And I remember the corpsman telling me, they said, bro, the corpsman went over there like, yo, here's the video. I'm like, what the fuck? And it just had the bodies just thrown up on stuff, and they have morgues and they burn it. And that's what that smoke, that big old smoke and stuff was that we used to see every morning, that we used to smell. and everything like that. Ashes coming in, like, what was that? No, they're burning bodies over there. You know, that's because they didn't have that stuff. But yeah, but it made me grow up a lot. And when I got back home, I was changed. I was more matured. I didn't take life for granted like a lot of people do. A lot of people here take a lot of stuff for granted, man. A lot of stuff. And I'm like, yo, you don't see what you see in these other places.
Complain about a lot of
Complain
things.
about it. Bro, trust me, we luck just things to complain about. Oh, don't get me wrong there. But
Yeah.
some of the stuff y'all complaining about, man, y'all should see in these other places.
Exactly. And see the things they don't do,
Yeah.
and see the things they don't clean up or fix fast enough,
Yup.
or half the stuff that people would complain about you know, road work.
Yeah.
If they only knew what it was like in other countries where there is no road work, where nobody
There is no
comes,
road. We
right?
used to fix stuff like roads in Haiti. I'd be there with the combat engine and heavy equipment working with them. We used to make roads or fix roads, and they come back we come back the next day after we finish, and then shit be like they put big old holes in there, blow huge patches in it. And you're like, man. Oh man. And then I you know, I'm kind of going somewhere else too. I just remember a story. They used to call me when I was in Iraq. And I remember this one. I used to say this one side. This is how small of a world it is, or you see people that you met before and see them down the line. And I remember I was in Iraq, and they used to mess these roads up all the time. But these guys used to come to the gate, and there was there's one guy that used to come there to the gate, like the fence line, not gate. That we had a makeshift fence line out in the middle of Haiti, and this guy used to come over there and be like, "Coupe Nimwa, Coupe Nimwa. I want to fuck you. I want to fuck you." And I'm like, what the hell?
What the fuck?
I used to get mad
What
every
the
day.
fuck?
We used to go to that work site, man.
What
And
the
I remember this
fuck?
dad sergeant. He said, "Come here, man. Come here." He said, "Hey, next time he come to that gate," and he took his pistol. He cleared it. He made sure it was cleared. "You go point this at him and threaten." I said, "All right." You know, put the pistol down there and stuff. And then he said, "Coupe Nimwa, Coupe Nimwa, Coupe Nimwa, Coupe Nimwa," or something like that. Was like short black or something like that. "Coupe Nimwa, what the fuck you?" And I said, "What?" And he took off running. He took off running. And then, "Coupe Nimwa, why you do that to me? I'm just playing with you. I'm just playing with you, right?" And so I just remember seeing that, right? And I say that story all the time, right? All the time for years. And then next thing you know, I'm a gunny. I'm in Afghanistan, and I hear about this mean ass master guns and stuff. No personality or anything. And he was on the heavy equipment side, but he was at the high, the higher level or something like that on Captain Linderneck. And so I had to go in there, and we had to get some paperwork approved or whatever. And I just remember walking in there. I looked, and he was chewing somebody's ass. What? Just chewing somebody, just grumpy. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, hell no." And he looked at me and I said, "I remember you. I tell this story all the time. And back when we were in Haiti," he went, "Huh? Back when you're in Haiti, you gave me a pistol because I was a young lance corporal, and this guy was saying, 'Coupe Nimwa,' blah, blah, blah." I told you. And he's like, "Oh, hell yeah." He started laughing and smiling and everything. He said, "I remember that." I said, "Yo, I've been telling that story for years, bro. Years." And he's right here in front of me. And he saw that paperwork approved. Right. And I was like, yo, but it's just kind of funny. You tell those stories, like people I used to work with way back then. And then, you stay in long enough, you see them later on, man. And that to me, that meant a lot. That little thing he did for me, something I remember, it meant a lot in my entire life, man. I see people like that all the time. To this day, they come back and I'm like, yo, being in Guatemala and everything, the stats I had out there, he was in charge of the engineer platoon and stuff like that. And then next thing you know, he's a civilian. I'm working with him in Marine Corps Systems Command. And he was like, "Hey, I remember you know this some he was with me in Guatemala and blah, 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 and we were talking and stuff. But just little things that happened to me in my life that I always told stories about. These people had popped up later on in my career and stuff like that, and we got to talk about it again and everything. Me going on a ride on a Huey with some other service members from the Air Force and the Army, and I'm a Marine in Guatemala, and we looking at all the damage and stuff that went through Guatemala and stuff. That's why we're there, because the hurricanes went through Central America and destroyed a lot of stuff, and we had to do a lot of rebuilding. A lot of people died, mudslides and stuff, and we went through looking at the damage and stuff. Mansions, literally mansions slid off the hill and turned over. Mansions, it's weird. I still got those pictures. And then I just remember me sitting on a Huey, and this is my first helicopter ride, and I'm like trying to look flying and everything, and then the pilot's like dodging birds and stuff, and I'm getting nauseous as hell. I'm turning gray, and my skin is clammy and everything, and then all of a sudden that he does something, and the Air Force guy and the Army guy like that. I'm like looking at them, and then we get ready to land. It's oh my god, hey, did you hear me scream and all this other stuff? And I'm like, and everything. They said, what about you? And I'm like, it was all right. Like that, right? Serious face. And we land. I got out of the helicopter, and they went one way, and I went one way, and I just threw up. I was just throwing up, blah, blah, but I was trying to look tough and everything. And I went back. I said, Stasson, don't ever send me on any helicopter rides like that again. To go do a survey and everything. And I was like, man, but it was just those moments. And then later on, I seen that guy. He was a civilian working as a contractor. And I was a gunny at the time too back then. And then it was just those memories, man. Man, I can see it.
Can I tell you about something that bothers me?
Yeah.
Oh no, bro, you're good. Hey, I'm the motherfucker to talk to like,
I like
this. If you can't talk to another,
come back up here 10 more
see?
times.
Yeah, bro. If you can't talk to another Marine, bro, then you know what the fuck. You know what I mean? That's nobody understands another Marine like another Marine or another veteran, or you know. But I want to ask you about one thing that I gotta be honest, that bothers me or has bothered me is obviously if things happen to fellow Marines while you in country, my mind can wrap my head around that because I understand it. You know, you understand consequences. But I gotta admit, it also still bothers me when things happen as we get older and we're back here in the States. And I don't know why it fucks with me more. You know, you can lose family members, you can lose civilian friends, but for some reason, man, especially when I know, you know, say a guy did survive the war or survive a deployment somewhere, and I don't know, it's just harder for me to wrap my head around losing a Marine bro.
Yes.
And I can't really put words to it. I can't explain it, but it so I figured I could only talk to you about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had man, oh my god, there's a few. I had one Marine, female Marine. There's a couple female Marines there too. One Marine, she was in Afghanistan with me at my old unit and stuff like that. And she died of passed away of cancer, man. And it was just like, are you serious? Oh wow. And it was just like anybody that passed away from cancer, and stuff like that, it just hurts, man. But and that was just like, wow, are you serious? Because that person was such a good person, and took care of us on the admin side of that too. Took care of all our stuff, made sure everything was good. Really nice person and everything. And then, I remember having one of my staff sergeants that used to look at me. Well, he wanted to be a master sergeant later on. Knew me as a lance corporal. Took care of me. It was a group of staff NCO, and that's the thing. I got lucky too because I always had people from when I first came in always looked out after me. Sometimes if you don't have people looking out after you in the military, your taste for the military just goes wrong, big time.
Yeah, man, you're fucked, man.
Yeah. And I had some bad ones. And I had some ones that was like bad that turned out to be good because they came back and started looking out for me. Like, yo, this guy, he's good to go, and everything like that. He don't complain much. He does do what he needs to do. And then I had someone that really took care of me. And when I first came in, I had one, two, three. I had three of them that took great care of me, and everything. They just looked out after me. And then he wound up passing away. I was that when I was a PFC. I was a PFC, and they looked out after me. And then later on, I'm a gunny. And then I'm sitting down with him. Yo, what's up, man? Yo, what's up? Staff Sergeant Gunny. We sitting later telling stories and stuff like that. Hey, what's up, man? Motherfucker, what's up? And shit. I'm like, what's up, man? Sorry. Yo, we're gonna get some chicken adobo and stuff. I'm like, yeah. All right. And then later on, he got out, retired. He want to pass cancer, right? And then I had man, one of them really hit me. One of the female Marines. We grew up together in the military. Knew her and her husband because they were like they were boyfriend and girlfriends when we went on we were supposed to go to Puerto Rico to do some practice offloading of some MPS ships and stuff like that. And then we want to just doing it in Virginia and everything. But I knew her and her boyfriend. They always knew. We just grew up together, all three of us. And then me and her want to retiring from the Marines and stuff like that. And we knew all these other people because like if you're in the same MOS, this person, you go different places, and this person knows that person and everything. So we knew all these people. Yeah. And I remember I was doing some game streaming, and she popped in my stream, and she became a follower. And we're retired. I retired in 2016. And so she became like a subscriber. Boom, following $5 a month every month. That's it. And then I just remember never heard from her. And then she came into the chat like 3 years later, right? And said, "Hey, what's up? Hope all is well. Family's good. Blah blah blah." I said, "Yo, what's up?" Bam 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 boom. I think it was 4 days later, one of my other boys said, "Hey, bro, I just seen this." I said, "Get the fuck." It was a news article. So-and-so died. In matter of fact, and where was it? It was in California. Yeah, it was in California. Died in California. Car accident, bro. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. She just hopped in my stream 4 days before that. And it was just like, man, all that stuff hurt. And then you start hearing different people and everything. One of my old sergeants that was in Afghanistan, he wound up, dying and stuff like that. And I think that was last year, the year before. But yeah, all the stuff, man, it was just sad, man. You hear and then you hear about oh man, I'm thinking about it right now. I'm thinking about some other people. Weird incidents. One guy, I don't know what the heck he got into. He was a really nice guy, quiet. I don't know what the heck happened. But something happened to him when he was in a car. And one of my other Marines hit me up and sent me the article. And I don't know if somebody killed him or whatever, but he was in a car and he was like, and it was on fire. And it was like, what? What's going on? How did? And he was like, man, I don't know all the stuff, but they said it was suspicious and everything. It was like, what the? And that was the nicest down to earth kid. And that was my last unit that I retired out of 11 Marines. I retired out of 11 Marines. So the whole time I was always in like a MLG, or they used to call second FSG and first FSG back in the day, and then it went to MLG, Marine, support unit. Everybody supports the grunts. That's what the Marine Corps is. Everything else is there to support the grunts. That's what we do in the Marine Corps. That's what you got your air wing, you got your support logistics, you got whatever else. They're all there to support the infantry. That's the main objective, right? And I've been through all that stuff, and I said, I'm never gonna go to infantry like anything in. Nah, man, hell no. And my last command was division, 11th Marines. I was 11th Marines regiment and everything. The utilities chief for it. I could say the sky is green and it's gonna turn red tomorrow, and they believe it. But like, oh, at the regiment level, I was like, damn, I got that much power over here. Shit. Right. But best time I ever had, man. Best time I ever had was in division. Best time. And best time ever too. And great people. There's a lot of stuff I didn't have to deal with that I had to deal with in all those other places and stuff. And then being with the artillery side, shoot and move, right? And I didn't have to, like, on the support side, you go out there and sit there for like 2 or 3 months in the middle of 2 months, or a month and a half in the middle of nowhere in a hot desert, just doing nothing, doing stuff that you do back in the rear and stuff like that, garrison, and stuff, stupid stuff. On the division side, you get out there and you do your stuff, clean up. They might bring some beer out there or whatever, and then you go home. And I love that. And then they treat you what your rank, for us, for at least in my experience, they treated me what my rank was. And then everybody, and all my younger Marines, they were just so, man, they did stuff that the gunny and the master sergeant, they did that stuff too. I'm like, God damn, on point. Division, I love division. Should have been out there a little bit more. But even there, I seen like the things that happen, people passing away that you hear from and stuff, and it's just like, man, why? Like, why did that happen? You survived all this stuff. You survived a lot of
Right.
stuff for something
Right.
small, something to happen, and dear man, thinking about it, there's a lot of people in my career that I didn't see come back. And I'm glad I'm here today, man, because it could have went left or could have went right.
Can I ask you, you ever, obviously you and I are in that weird position to where we can watch TV and watch a movie or a series about war veterans or about everything that we go through day to day and have been through the last, years and
Yeah.
years. But is it not at all weird to you that we, daily live that Marine Corps to war veteran to after veteran, we live that shit really day by day, step by step. Like, you ever hit you how hard that is? That we have that actual story that we can tell people.
Yeah, and like I said,
You're watching
it
yourself.
does, and I have a lot of stories in here. Just being in that long, that's all I know.
Yeah.
It's, I used to say like, man, it's just how I feel to get out of prison, because that's what you know that stuff. And it's kind of funny. I watch this stuff, and let me tell you, man, after seeing like dealing with like death and stuff like that, seeing people and seeing different things, I ain't gonna lie, man. I watch a movie. It could be some little kid movie, like, and I'll break up, and I see something emotional, I break up in tears. I do. I
Right.
do. I like it out of nowhere. I was just watching something on TV. They were just talking about how, especially when it comes to, they mentioned military, whether it's a documentary, especially documentaries tear me up, or it's a movie and has that moment in it, especially military. But it gets to the point where it's everything now. I'm sitting there, I was just like, and I was like tearing up and stuff. I did a little skit on that, video on that, like a little skit, like,
Yeah.
military people in
Yeah.
I think movies or something like that. And it's because it's true. I like
Some shit hits
yeah,
hard, dog.
hard.
Some shit'll catch you off. Some shit you can relate to a moment, a
Yes,
friend, a face, a country,
yes.
a smell. There's so many things that just hit hard.
Music,
You
yeah,
like, fuck, it's too
everything.
raw. It hit me too raw. I don't know how to handle
Yeah.
that the first time or the first, when it hits you too raw and you ain't experienced it. You're like, oh shit, that cut through.
Yes.
That cut through my armor,
Yes.
dog. That cut through.
Yeah.
I don't know how it did, but it cut through.
And I just let it go. I tell people all the time, cry. Like when my boy died like in Haiti and stuff like that. I remember, man, we were tore it up. I could stop. I could not stop crying. I'd be in the chow hall that's crying out of there, and they knew how close we all were in that hooch, and then and everything, and then back in the rear before we left and everything, that people just like they knew what happened. They just look at us, and I'll be sitting in chow. I can't eat. My boy crushed for me. And we can't eat, and we just break out. We just start crying, bro, and I just like in tears. And people just like, oh shit. They weren't making fun of us. They were there with us. And it was like, and then they had like a little thing. You know how they do they call off the names and stuff like that. And then they call that person's name and they call it again. And it's like they're not answering. They're not sounding off. Like,
Yeah. Oh, you still there, bro?
right here.
All right, I lost you for a second.
Yo, we getting invaded by aliens.
Can I be real with you real quick? How it happened with me is I don't know if I was so filled with hatred or just cold-hearted in general, but even when I lost a buddy in Fallujah, I couldn't cry until 3 years later when I was in college.
Oh, yep.
I don't know why. It's so shit. It's shit like that we just can't explain because of our lifestyles and because of how we've had. People don't understand that we actually had ability to turn off our hearts. You know, we give up our cars, girlfriends, family. No, people don't know what it's like to say goodbye to everything and everything you love and go possibly fight and die.
Right.
Yet we've done it multiple times.
Right. And you know what? And that's kind of a you know, you put up that block. That force.
Yeah. You have to.
Yeah, you have to. And then but also too, it affects things down the line too, because things that you should be emotional to when it comes to
You
family
can't
and
be.
stuff.
And it
Right.
Yes.
And
things you should be more emotional about, or because you can't feel and laugh or cry as much as everybody else. You're like, damn, what's wrong with me?
And you're like, oh man, what's going on here? Yeah, exactly. Like, what's wrong with me? I can't get that. I like my sister would like my sister or some or a mom would tell me about, hey, this person passed away and this person passed away, and I'm like,
right.
You know, I said I apologize, but I take it
Plus,
a little bit.
you know what, Gunny? They don't realize how much bad fucking news we are used to getting in our lives either. They don't realize that for us, yes, I know anything bad or catastrophic is going to have an effect. But for us as Marines, we hear so much of it that how we react to it, it's obviously different than everybody else because we've had to, you know. So it's hard for people to understand that,
especially to you. Say as a grunt, you guys see a lot more. You know, okay. Let me. I'm gonna just break this down a little bit, because you do have your grunts, and you have your pogues, and then you have your grunts that have been in situations. Then you have grunts that just never deployed or never seen anything. But they say like, hey, you're a pogue. Hey, pogue. This and that. Blah. I'm like, I probably seen a little bit more than you have. But what I'm saying is say like you and a lot of others. You've seen a lot. You've been through situations. You've seen a lot of stuff. A lot more. So your wall is probably even thicker. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like it's, you have that force field that's up there's a lot more. You got a strong force field, you know, and stuff like that. So,
but we're still human underneath. So that's why I say when certain shit still breaks through, when certain shit still breaks through those high ass walls, you're like, fuck, I'm just human, dog. I mean, it's just emotions. I don't know what to say. I can't put words to it.
You have all those emotions that's been built up all that time, and then when it leaks out all at once. you know. So and then on you is like, how do I deal with this? Because it's all at once, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like when my friend passed away in Haiti, and me and my other friend, we were there. We hugged each other. I ain't never hugged a dude like that like before, but it was just because we were like, he was like, bro, and we just talked about it, and it was just me and him. We just talked about it, and it was just like, there's no shame in it to hug somebody else and cry because we had those emotions in there. And you know, as any Marine, just period, you just like, we don't keep it aside. We gotta be tough. Blah 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 blah. And bro, we just hugged each other because we just cried. And then crazy enough, that's when the other guys just walked in through the hooch. Boom. He walked like, oh shit, where we are.
That's the way
Yeah,
it
you
is.
know, oh damn, you done caught us in the moment. It ain't like that, guys, and it's not like that. You know, we crying this moment out, and a lot of people just need to know you just need to cry. I don't care how tough you are and stuff to that. You need to cry. You need to get it out. 'Cause it does build up
Gotcha.
and stuff like that.
If you don't, it will come out in other
Other ways,
ways
and it
when
be
you
worse.
least expect it or don't want it to, or the wrong thing gives you the wrong emotional reaction and it comes out
Yeah.
then. And
Yeah. It's just like, man, growing up, my dad, I never heard "I love you" from my dad because he was always tough, great, you know, stick it out and this and that. Except when I went to Iraq and one time when I was in Afghanistan, the first time I was in Iraq, and I got a letter from him and it actually said "I love you" at the bottom. I was like, whoa,
it's
what?
different, huh?
You know, and stuff like that. And then I said, I'm gonna make a difference. So I got no shame in it. From like when my son was growing up, I said, I love you. And I said, come here, give me a hug. And you know, I love you and stuff like that. Cause I didn't want to be like that. I wanted, and then I tell him, like, even if like my son, if he got mad at me and everything, blah, blah. Oh, we just had a talk. I said, cry it out, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with crying it out. Just cry. Get it out. Trust me. Because um it'll help with things later on and all that build up and stuff like that. Just cry. You know, even if you want
I
to just
want to
go in
salute
yeah,
you.
even if it's not good, sorry. Even if you just need to go in a room by yourself, cry. Cry. And nothing wrong with crying, you know, because it helps. Sorry.
Dogs, man. Um, I actually wanted to salute you because of how well you handle turning your pain into creation. All right. I have heard for a long time of that connection between um say depression and
Yeah,
comedy, or for me, I had to realize that my depression could turn to
yeah,
rage. So which means I had to be careful because I didn't realize that when I get down, I get
yeah.
pissed. I didn't realize. So I want to salute you that uh, you have been able to turn things that could catastrophically have you down. You're able to turn into comedy in that way. That is dope as hell to me that you know, you notice that in yourself and you utilize it that way.
Yeah, definitely appreciate that, man. Yeah, that's like I said, like you gotta laugh. Laugh is good. You know, hey, I used to love like when I was in the Marines, I used to love this. I go to work, I laugh most of the day, doing stupid stuff. All the way up. Everybody think like, yeah, the staffing shows, you know, you pick up staff sergeant and above. They ain't laughing. They serious. Look, they assholes and all that. Nah, they doing the same stuff. The younger Marines, the same stupid stuff that the younger Marines are doing. Staffing shows are doing the same thing. And every once in a while, you get some officers in there doing the same stuff with you, laughing, talking about the stupid stuff. And then when they come out of those doors and stuff, they like looking all serious and everything. No, they ain't serious. They're really not. You do have those serious ones in there that have no personality or whatever. But nah, they when they come out of those doors, they laugh. They were laughing and joking, falling on the floor. I used to fall on the floor laughing all the time, telling jokes or telling a story or laughing at somebody or they laughing at me or whatever. Um, you gotta laugh, man. You gotta laugh. Turn the worst situations to the best situation. And Marines are good at that. The other service, you know what? When I started streaming, I started saying like, oh, I thought only there was only things the Marines said and did all this other stuff. All the other, mainly the Army. The Army do a lot of stuff that the Marines did. We just don't realize it because we don't communicate about it. And then when I was on stream and hearing from everyone, I'm like, "Dog, I thought that was just in the Marines." And they would say, "Oh, I thought that was in the Army." I said, "No, the Marines do that too. We say that too." We got a lot of similarities and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Tell me about this one, Gunny. How about this, right? And can you admit now, have you, since you retired, ever had to hold yourself back from whooping somebody's ass and giving them Marine treatment? Just a yes or no. Is it, don't think too hard about it. Come on.
yes. On stream, yes, all the time. And that's what people used to love that. I used to like stop the stream, stop the gaming, and it used to get quiet. It went from laughing and joking.
Okay.
And then I would like, I'll stop, like, yo, especially like people coming in and be like, oh, yeah, what is it? He's not in the military. He's stolen valor and all this. Oh my gosh, people just come in here and say that to me all the time, and I'm like, yo,
that'll eat you alive. That should eat you alive.
and you know what? There's always somebody that wasn't in the military. Always. Most, I say 90% or 95% of the time, it was always somebody that was never in the military. And they would come in there and start trolling, oh yeah, look at this. He wasn't in the military. I just start going off, bro. And I just start going off, cursing, with just straight emotions. And unfortunately, that's what like used to bring a lot of people in. Because on the platforms and stuff, if they love drama, they love.
Hold on, so that made you build your audience by lightning people's ass. Chewing ass made you blow up.
It used to get to the point. Sometimes my wife would be on the side. She'd be like, calm down.
Wow.
Calm down.
Chewing, you were ripping into these civilians. Is that what happened, Gunny? You chewing?
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, just not, because you got some crazy people out there too. They come show up to your house doing some like, or whatever. But she used to tell me, I'm like, calm down. And I'm like, I'm good. But nah, I used to dry my blood. But people you start seeing the count go up. It's like, oh, it's going up to 1,000 people watching at a time. It's at 1,500 right now. Sometimes I used to look at that and be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna keep going because I see the CCV, and there's a lot of people watching. Right, let me keep going. And then I did have to like calm it down and stuff like that. But it's just like people will say stuff to your face in social media or in the comments, but they wouldn't say it to your face.
Right.
And it's like, come on, bro.
Right.
But right. But I hated that. That's the biggest piece right there. And then, I never really experienced too much like in person, period. People saying some stupid stuff. Like you would see on social media. Like you out the street and people saying some stuff, or there's
keyboard warriors, right?
Yeah, there's been more support than negative. But it
Can I tell you what I run into, to be honest with you? Because most of the time, right? I didn't mention it, but so I have a TBI and then I have hearing aids, right? From using the salt, right? I would truly love though to be doing a lot more like tactical filming, shooting, getting out more, right? So back in 2019, I almost had a chance with the Hunt channel if I would have been able to get a film crew together to have an outdoors, like it was gonna be a hybrid of like military, off-grid hunting. It was like my own little grunt playground type of shit. You know what I mean? And it was shit, I kind of forgot where I was going with that. The point was, we all can't remember shit, right? With CRS. The point was 2019. I started Outdoor TV channel, right? I run into the 2A gun influencers, right? Because matter of fact, I was kind of going to segue into this with you. It's so amazing that you are able to do so much with humor and comedy, and as opposed to, because you have the skills if you wanted to show off your gun skills at any time, I could easily see you being a 2A gun influencer
Yeah,
and showing up at SHOT Show every
yeah.
year.
One of my buddies told me that too.
Right. But the issue I used to have is I had to understand back in 2019 the issue I did between who we know we are as far as on paper, as being Marines or whatever your background is, versus the entertainment category for these 2A, the 2A, influencer types who, think they're tough, who try to get as tough as possible to, dangerous shit or military life, or you get what
Yeah.
I'm saying? They try to mimic the toughness. So I really had to learn that whole thing between what your paperwork says versus what is entertaining and actually gets clicks, likes, who's in the know, who's using the proper algorithms, the timing, the video durations. You know what I mean? We all have to learn. Uh, I guess I'll say the pecking order
Yeah.
is what I used to call it. So I was just wondering, similar to what you just said, is I had to learn not to ever get into matches of trying to prove anything to anybody online when it comes to guns or military,
Yes. Yeah.
because you have so many different levels of who either had a badge or was in
Yeah.
uniform,
Yeah.
who was this MOS or that MOS, who deployed to this country or
Right.
that country, what stance were you using, were you tactical enough? It, there's so much talking that I had to get to this point of like, okay, fuck comments. Like you kind of have to just know who you
Yeah.
are and like your shit. You know that person. Whatever. But it's like you said though. You can find moments to where the wrong shit
Yeah.
said
Certain things that trigger you.
will fucking set you off.
Right. Yup.
And you find yourself. I don't. Or I. The biggest thing for me, Gunny, when I'll interview because I figure at least if nothing else, we all have guns in
Yeah.
common,
Yeah.
right? So I spent a lot of portion of my episodes. I would interview some of the bigger names, gun influencers,
Right.
right? And what I found though, the ones that were in the military, what they portray themselves to be as in the 2A space as the tactical, like, world's geniuses, when they were in the military, they weren't that.
Right.
So, and that's the craziest part to me that I had to just understand that, fine, that's still because, credentials wise, the guy still is a veteran and he does have room clearing
Yeah.
training and this, that, and the third. So you can't, I had to like really open my eyes to like, there are no absolutes and there's no like, we have rank in the Marines, so we know when to shut the fuck up
Yeah.
to whoever's hired. But social media or entertainment wise,
Yeah.
there's no true, and you get what I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I can see that because like I said, we had master gun shilling during the time of Master Sergeant Shilling, and he used to train us in clearing rooms doing this the way grunts would do it and stuff like that. But that's my only period. But if I take that and go like, yeah, this is the way you do it, and this and that, blah blah blah. To me, that don't make sense.
But see, that's because you're honest though, because you realize
Yeah.
there are guys who will take that and go and say, I'm a fucking
Right.
expert. Or
Yeah.
you go and say, those are the ones who you hear in the bar saying, oh, I got 19 kills and
Yeah.
shit like that. Trying to impress
Yeah.
women, trying to burn shit like that out. So it's kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know. I had to like remove myself from
Yeah.
ever feeling like I need to be in competition with anybody in the 2A
Right.
or the Second Amendment world or in the veteran world. To me, it was easier for me to assume this whole thing in my head of like, fuck it, everybody else can be better
Yeah.
than me. I do not care. I don't care if I was whatever MOS drunk girl. I don't care if I have no problem being a fan, telling you you're dope, telling you that you are more entertaining or have better this, that, the third. Any of that. I'm sorry. My whole reason to bringing that up though was kind of what you mentioned, where I noticed if sometimes it seems like you have to defend your military background. And to me, I don't see why you ever would, but I can see how people questioning you or fucking comments or racist
Oh
comments.
God, you get those
Shit
every
can be,
day. Racist comments, you get those
yeah,
every day. I like on my Facebook side, they have so many tools and stuff. There's one thing I could click and you could see like all the stuff that was hidden. And you go through that, and I'm like, God damn. Report, report, report. But
doesn't it piss you off even a little bit though? Because you actually have the background. You're not a fake. You are not an imposter, bro.
Yes. And here's the thing: like when I used to do that, it mainly happened on the streaming side and stuff like that. On the stuff that I do now, I don't get much of that. On the streaming side, I had that a lot, and it was like, oh damn, man. And it get to the point like, and they just trolling, man, just to get your reaction and stuff. It got to the point I said, bring my dress blues out, my alphas. Here's my God, motherfucker. Here's my medals.
Oh, actually, you know what? Okay, that's another area for me to talk to you about. So everything you just said also touches on something that only you can relate to. One, as a recruiter. Two, as a gunner. Right? Dealing with male insecurity. Okay, because for one, you had to deal with it from a recruiter side. You know the men who want to be Marines. Right? For two, you know, even within the Marines, there's still that competition in between us. So you get to see male competition and masculinity on a level most of the world can never relate to.
Yeah, like so like on oh man, the stuff that I used to see like on recruiting duty. People come in, oh yeah, I wanna do this, I wanna do that, I wanna do this. And then they get to boot camp and they act all hard and everything. And then they just get to boot camp. And then you get a call from the drill instructor say, hey, these stats aren't like, hey, what's up, bro? Hey, I fucked up. I said, why? What's going on? I fucked up. You're so and so, blah blah blah. I can't freaking train him. I can't train him. And I was like, why? What's
that really happened?
Oh, yeah,
I didn't know that really happens.
The drill,
holy shit.
Sometimes the drill instructor will call you and say, because they want to call the recruiter to try to talk to the recruit sometimes. But I had that one guy who's like, hey, I can't train him. I said, I failed you, man. I failed you. I said, what? He said, so and so's over here keeping track of the training in a logbook and all this other stuff that's going on. He refused to train. I said, what? Are you serious? I said, he was the number one coming in here talking about like, he's like, oh, like, man, oh yeah, I want to.
It's always the one who said it was gonna be the toughest.
I'm a kick ass, and I'm kick ass.
Yeah, it's always that
and
one.
And then here he is, refused to train, and I said, yo, hey, drill instructor, hey, fuck him, just kick him out. I'll take the hit because recruiters. What happened on recruiting duty? You get your on recruiting duty. It's based off of when you contract, that person ships and that person graduates. That all go against you as a recruiter. So you got to make sure that person, you get him in, but you got to make sure he ships to boot camp. Shipping is king. You got to make sure he ships to boot camp, right? He gets to boot camp. All those out of your control, they have to graduate. So those numbers will go against you and everything like that. I said, hey,
I didn't know that's how it
works. And it adds up on you, and that's your numbers and stuff, and that's how it affects your fitness, your fit rep. It all comes down to you, and then when you leave, so it all adds up and stuff like that. So I said, hey, drill instructor, like, hey, I said, hey, fuck it, kick him out. I don't care. Kick him out. I don't really care. If he's doing all that, and then I gave him to the boss. He said, what's going on? I said, hey, this was going on. He said, let me talk to the drill instructor. I said, here. Yeah. But that stuff, you get that all the time. I remember on recruiting duty too, I had a kid come in. So the Air Force is offering me this, and the Army is offering me this, and the Navy's going to offer me that. And he took his feet and threw it up on the desk and crossed his feet and said, what are you going to give me? And he laid back like this. I said, all right, check it out. This is what I'm going to offer you. I got up out of my seat. I said, "Come here real quick." I took him to the door. I said, "Get the fuck out of my fucking office." Ooh, I'm gonna do a skit on that too, bro. I'm gonna do a skit on that. I said, "Get out of my fucking office." He said, "What?"
You got
I said,
to,
"Don't fucking
dog.
come here
You
doing
got
that
to,
shit."
dog.
You know, and that's another place where I also changed is recruiting duty because it made me tougher. It made me just like different and everything, which I hated recruiting duty, but I love what it did to me and everything. It made me, and it just made me tougher. It made me like, okay, be able to say certain things. It made me like be the person that, hey, plant manager, this is what's going on because my manager ain't fucking shit. So I'm over here letting you know because he ain't got no balls. And that's what recruiting duty did to me. And so I used to do that all the time, like, yo, get the fuck out. Oh shit. And then I put that motherfucker on the freaking practice ASVAB and he failed it. And I'm like, yo, man, you come in here throwing your feet up at my desk asking for a bonus on. We don't do that here. We want you to want to be a Marine first, and then we might take this bonus and go like that if there is. And at the time, this is the Marine Corps. We ain't got no goddamn bonus like that. Or, you know. And so, but yeah, man.
Let's take it a step further. Let's take it a step further. How about I want to get into these whole like manhood kind of tests is what I call them, where everybody's got their idea of what a tough man is, a strong man is. We heard it from our either fathers, uncles, grandparents. We all heard it, right?
Mhm.
Then there enters the category of a Marine, right? Then there's the category that you're a Marine, right, Gunny? Then I became a Marine, right? So then you have that standard of, okay, there's everything that I learned as a Marine, and then there's what all these guys taught me was supposed to be tough and hard and fighting and all this other tough man shit. And what I ended up finding was most of the men I looked up to growing up didn't know shit about no fighting or toughness like I thought they did.
Yeah.
You
They
know?
never been in that situation. They never been through I say like a lot of people have similar, a lot of people in the past, each generation, right, has a different way of growing up. And what they think of is tough and stuff like that. I'm a Gen X. I love the name Gen X because I think it sounds badass. Gen X. And you know, and then you got all these other names, alphas or whatever. Now I don't know what the hell they are. They're weak, but every generation thinks the other generation is weak, and this is the way you're supposed to grow up and stuff like that. But when it actually comes down to even to the people today that's in the military, we may say they weak. Oh, we were better, man. We were better than my generation, the Gen X generation, the people before that. We were better before this and that. But yeah, you were during when there was no time of war. When you think about it, it doesn't matter if you were infantry or anybody. They had little conflicts going on, but there was no war going on. You know, there was no big stuff going on that lasted 10, 15 years and then something else take off, or you know, there was nothing. But your generation was tough. You know, when you were in, it was tough. No, it wasn't. You didn't have nothing going on and stuff like that. During the Cold War, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. During the Cold War, there was a period of time where a lot of people didn't deploy, didn't go, like kind of like it is now. It's kind of back that way right now. There's a lot of people, you'll see a lot of gunnies or staff sergeants now, and you see them online and stuff. You're like, God damn, he only got 3 ribbons. I remember when it was just you know, people with 3 ribbons and stuff, and then you ask for something, and then it came along, and don't ask for everything. Don't ask for it because you got to be mindful of what you want, because you want to. Oh, I want 3. I used to say I want 1 man. I wish I had more than 1 ribbon. I mean, next thing you know, I got 5 rows of ribbons. Why? Because shit happened, and it's like, oh shit, and you know, and then be careful what you ask for and everything. But you know, your time, your toughness. Every generation's before that, your toughness, it was tougher and everything like that. And I don't put anything on a generation like the people that's in now because I know how that was. Because when I first came in, everybody's like, "Oh, these group of Marines, they're weak. They don't have this. Their toughness is not this. This is what toughness is." Blah blah blah. Blah. And then when you get in and you experience certain things, that's what makes you tough. That's what you experience, and that's what your experience come out to be. It's not what like my dad would say, like, "Hey, you need to be tough. You need to do this. You need to blah 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 blah." That was yeah. That worked for you. It may not work for me,
Right.
and that's what people got to understand. And I can see how that all happens and everything, like why you would think that and everything. But you got to be a little bit. I'm really open minded about a lot of stuff. Just open minded because I seen people from all over and going through different situations and stuff like that. You got to be open minded, and you gotta like,
Gotta
why
be.
is this happening? Okay. And then learning. I learned. My thing is you always learning. You're always learning. Um, I learn from my kids all the time, like what they're going through and stuff. And the way I am, like, you got. I had to open up to a lot of stuff. Like, okay, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and look at this, accept some of this. I may not accept it all the way, but I'm gonna be open minded to it. Because that's the way it is. And even my kids were like, my daughter was telling me, Dad, I'm kind of glad the way you raised us and stuff like that. Like, because a lot of parents just close minded. They blind, they don't see shit,
Right.
and they don't that, and we're like that. I'm like, well, all right, man, cool, shit, cool, all right. I like being that way. It helps me, and stuff like that. Because again, my dad used to like, "Hey, you need to keep everything in. You need to keep everything in." And I used to go in the back of the and like when before I went to the military, I used to go in the backyard and punch the wall because I had so much build up into me. And that causes
Right.
problems later on. And I think again, like you said, like people said, this way you need to be, this way you need to be, and then you get in the military, then you're like, no, this is the way I need to be.
Exactly.
You can try to be that
Exactly.
way, but bro, and then if you start seeing like this is not working for me, and
Right.
you ha- there's got to be something there to open your mind up to say like, I got to be a little bit open minded. I can't be this way all the time, and it is I don't know what it is. It's got there's something in your life that has to happen to open you up to accept other stuff or just be open minded about stuff, even if you don't agree. Look at the other side, what they're talking about and what's going on, and then that you'll still get that toughness, but it might be in a different way. You know, the Vietnam people. Oh no, shit! I'm going way back. War 1, them mother shit. World War II, they went through a lot of stuff too, a lot of stuff. Vietnam, holy crap! Iraq, Afghanistan. Me personally, I don't think I don't think it was bad as World War I, II,
uh,
in
uh,
Vietnam.
uh, uh,
People
uh.
people from now might say Iraq and Afghanistan was goddamn what and stuff like that. World War I, woo. I I was looking at some documentaries on that. I was like, God damn. And then two in Vietnam, Korea, you know, but every generation is gonna say, nah, no, you guys are weak. You guys are weak. The next generation is weak. Oh, what the hell's going on here? No, every generation is gonna say that. I don't care who you are. 10 years from now, 20 years from now, every generation is gonna say that about the last generation. They weren't tough, but technology is different. The situation is different. The way things are different. So everybody has their toughness. And you can't say like you need to be this way or this way. Hazing was a big thing when I came in '94. Boot camp. I remember getting punched in boot camp by my favorite instructor. Come here. Open your, like, coming out of the gas chamber. Open your eyes. My eyes. This recruit's eyes are open, sir. Open your eyes. Just like, or get in the gear locker. They used to take you in the gear locker and then come out and you like and everything. They, you know, they hit you and beat you. They hit you and stuff like that. But that happens. It happens. It still probably happened. But the thing is like more than what it did way back in the day. You get like a beat down or something, like, or whatever the heck it was. But the situation is different and stuff like that. Hazing was a huge thing. Now it's like it happens, but you know, it shouldn't happen to the point that it needs to be, because the mind frame of everybody, you know, changes over the generation. The mind frame changes. And then the toughness changes, and it's just everybody has their toughness. It just doesn't need to be like yours or whatever. That's what I'm saying. Like it depends on the situation, it depends on the environment, what's going on. People ain't I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me. They're not as weak as you think they are right now, because they said that about they said about your generation. Oh, I got screens all over. They said about your generation when you were doing your time. They said the same thing about your generation. Your generation was weak. They said it about mine coming up when I first came in. Oh, they ain't weak because they ain't doing this. They don't need to do that. It's just a situation you're going through. They're dealing with they're dealing with drones now coming out of nowhere. And boom. Holy crap. Yo, that's a different fear. You know? You had a different fear. You had like yellow, like mustard gas back then. That's a different fear. I really ain't got to deal with mustard gas now. It's a fear, but I got technology that helped me against that. But I don't have technology to help me against this over here. Not yet. Not like you don't have to deal with this and every, because it's different. And, you know, so it's like I watched like videos and stuff from Ukraine all the time and all that other stuff, and I'm like, oh damn.
Hey, okay. Doesn't that feel weird to you to see another country in war after everything you've been through? And because you're trying to relate to their soldiers and what shit you ever find yourself doing shit like that?
Yes. And then you be like, okay, what would I do in this situation? Damn. Like, whoa, what? Like, you know, like you just, you know, and it's like, okay.
Or
yeah.
I was also a little blown away of like even just the aspect of I wonder who gives a fuck that I'm at war now, or that they're at war now, or I don't know. I kept finding myself wondering like, you know, not because when you were in Iraq or Afghan, obviously that's in your face, that's your life. But then but to watch Ukraine and to watch their soldiers and wondering, does anybody else know who that they're in the war or give a fuck or I had to try to wrap my head around shit like that from a distance. You know what I mean?
And that's another thing, because in the beginning, it's, oh crap, what's going on? Everything, all this stuff is going on. And then after a while, that it goes down the line, it's like a year or two later, 3 years later, and people are still in that battle. Everybody else that's not in that situation, especially if they're not military, are doing their normal things. Oh yeah, you know, they're not paying attention to what's going on over there, but all this is going on, still going on.
Right.
Like I remember like I hadn't talked to one of my favorite cousins. She passed away too, man. Cancer. And before she passed away, we're talking, and she didn't know all this. Like I was in Iraq, I was in Afghanistan. She didn't know all that stuff that happened all those years. Haiti, Guatemala. She didn't know that. She's like, what? You were what? You were here? What? And it's just because in the beginning, people hear about it and it's like a big thing. And then after a time, people forget about it. They're naive about it. They go about their life. Oh, how's this going on? Oh, how's this on? Oh, look at this celebrity. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, they got a new product coming out and stuff like that. And you're like, they forgot all about you. They forgot all about what's going on over here and everything. And that's what happens. You know, you got the Ukraine thing going on all this time, and people forgot about that. I know, because I see the footage all the time because my algorithm is military related. So it pops up in my algorithm. So that pops up and I
Right.
see it all the time. And I'm like, I love military stuff, especially, my son joined the Navy and stuff like that. So I'm always like, yo, I want to see that. And the Marine Corps and the Navy work closely together. So I'm always like, yo,
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny. He was the last one to want to like join the military because he grew up as a military brat. And he'd been moved around so many times and did all this other stuff. He last one to say it. And then when he came up to me, and what my thing is, I'm not going to talk to my kids saying, "You need to join, you need to join." Like I used to see other parents doing. No, hell no, you gonna join today now. He came to me, and I was like, "What the fuck?" All right, hey, this one.
You came to
So anything
you.
I recommend, I can only recommend it because you over 18 now. Don't join the Army. Don't join the Marines. Why not join the Marines? You want to get there, whether you do 4 years or you do 20 years, you want to get there an easier way or you want to get there a hard way, right? And I'm like, and I said, and me as a dad talking to my kid, I said, I'm gonna tell you everything. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you and everything like that. I'm just gonna be honest with you. This was gonna happen. I lost a lot of people that passed away. Join the Air Force and the Navy. But I know your personality and everything. And then I said, we're gonna go to see the Air Force, but the Air Force ain't gonna be there. And they were never there. And I said, I just know your personality and the way you're and everything, and your jokes are like me. So you do that in the Marines, but you won't tell me. I'm telling you. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. You're gonna have some great times, you're gonna have some good times, but you in the thick of things, you're gonna see some people pass away, your friends, people all this other stuff. You're gonna be in some situation, you're gonna be like, oh fuck. So this is what I recommend. And so that, and everything.
Right on.
But
Right on.
I'm
Gunny,
this
this has been one of the realest talks I've ever had in a very long time, especially being able to have it with another Marine. One last time, I'm gonna put your Instagram up on the screen. Can you let everyone know where they can find you online again?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram at Marine1169X. Also Facebook, which is my main platform. There's a lot more content over there of different things. And then that's Marine1169X2. TikTok, YouTube is Marine1169. You can find me on Snapchat. I'm trying to grow that too. You can that's Marine1169, Twitch and Kick, Marine1169. And also on Twitch and Kick, just to let you know, I'm just trying to do some stuff, whether it be just like a couple hours of gaming or just get up there, do some reaction to some videos and stuff like that. That's going to be coming soon. I've been saying that for like the last year and a half, and I'm going to start doing that again. We'll start doing that content over there because it used to be just gaming and stuff like that. So it's just gonna be more of getting out there and just talking to people, pretty much like you are, just talking, get in there, post some videos, you react to it, just talk, be honest reaction, right on the spot and stuff like that. And that's it, man. Man, I really appreciate you, man. Really
Yeah, bro. We all need something like this every once in a while, man. Somebody that we can relate to. Somebody we don't need to explain shit to. You can just have a regular talk, man. And that's the main reason I do this, man. Like I said, health wise, I wish I could be doing more grunt shit, more like hunting, more tactical shit, room clearing. I wish I could still be that kind of content creator, but with my injuries, I'm just getting too old to do it, Gunny. I'm getting too old to.
Man, I watched your intro. I was like, God damn, this. Yo, you mommy. I don't remember if you remember the who was it? In Living Color. They used to have like the Jamaican moms. I do this. I do this. I work in a restaurant. I'll do this. I do that. I do that. And there's so many different things. I was like, look at your intro. I was like, God damn, this guy on everything. He does everything. how do you find the time? I can't. A lot of times I can't even find the time to do the things that I do. And you got so much going on. Like I was like, wow, wow.
I
It must be like
appreciate it.
5 of you.
Nah, it's one of those things where I don't have you, understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying. We don't get that same job the feeling that other men get for job satisfaction or from completing something good. We don't get that. We don't, because we're not on military bases anymore. We're not around the
yeah,
guys. We're not around the platoon, squad, section. We don't get that same feeling of a pat on the back or a job well
right,
done because it's just the nature of everything we do is so different.
right.
This is one of the few things that still gives me that feeling.
I,
So I just try to throw myself
I'm
into
telling
it.
you, what you doing right now in this pot, I swear to God, I love this. Just talking and just being real, not worrying about I could curse, and like and everything. And this is something me and my one of my buddies. He was one of my he streams now because a lot of my mods, what they did, I lost a lot of mods when I used to stream gaming because they went and uh they became gamers and streamers themselves. So I was like, what the hell? Where's my mods at? And this is something that me and him talked about doing. And then like for YouTube and just being real, just talking. And you're a perfect example of what our goal was back then. And it kind of make me kind of want to do that now. But man,
Hey,
it's
kill it.
right
Do
here,
it. Take it over.
right here.
I mean, you already do everything else, man. I expect to see you on TV or in a movie or
I
something,
want to be. I've met
anytime
so many
soon, man.
people, bro. I just met so many. Yeah, I would love to do that. I would love to do that. Just so a lot of people you probably follow on social media. I met, got with, still keep in touch with them, see them sometime, just talk. A lot of people I don't even take pictures. I was like, yo, what's up, bro, man? And we just talk and we just like, hey, man, yo, you need to stop creating that content and everything. And like Jordan, what's his name? Jordan that throws the glasses all the time. And I met him a few times, and it's just like, bro, it's just like I don't know, so many people, but that could be you. That's you. That's you. Seriously, that's like because you everywhere. And the thing is, nobody will know who you are until you get your face out there. You could be the greatest and everything, but nobody will know who you are until you get your face out there. And the way to get your face out there is on every platform. Content creators, get yourself out there. Show just don't be scared. I used to be that way. Put your face on literally everything. And if you're nervous about doing something, just do it. Just do it.
I gotta actually give you one last compliment, right? It is something that I don't get. See, I hate myself because I don't think I'm entertaining enough. So I try to say, well, I'm not, such and such and such because I'm a Marine and
Yeah.
because I act that way. But when I see you do it, bro, and I see you're still able to tap into what people like and what's funny and what civilians even
Yeah.
like. I gotta say I can't use that excuse anymore that damn I'm not entertaining enough just because I'm a Marine. Because when I see you do it, it's like he figured out a way to break through it, man. I can't do nothing but salute
Oh,
you.
same here,
It is
man.
dope to see.
Like I said, you're doing a lot. The thing is, you like it. I guarantee you don't sleep at night because you were thinking about content and doing other stuff. Like that's me. I'm like, my wife be like, go to bed. Go to bed. I said, I can't go to bed that late. First of all, I go to bed late and I wake up early. That's the way I was in the Marines. I can't help it.
Right.
If I sleep too early or too late, get a lot of sleep in, it messes me up.
Throw
It
everything
messes
off.
me up so bad. My mind
Yeah.
is always thinking about content and content, what I should be doing. And then, you get those moments when it's kind of down and you're like, I got a content block or I don't know what to do. And all of a sudden something uplifts you or it comes to your head and I'm hungry, man, because I like this. And I really like this. And plus, if I start working a regular job and everything, again like that, I can't deal with it. I just know I'll be going off. It depends. It depends. If you start treating people bad, or you don't have no balls to stick up for people, or whatever it is, I'm not gonna say something. I'm gonna say something. Um, whew. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna say something. And that's the way it was. I used to like just taking care of my peoples, man. Even if they disagreed with me for certain things, because I'm gonna throw it in there real quick, and then I'm gonna stop. Like I remember telling one of my Marines in Afghanistan, you know how they were always talking about PPE and all that stuff, and he was doing something.
Yep.
And I said, bro, put your safety glasses on, man. Go get your freaking glasses on, bro. And I wasn't being a dick about it. I said, he's and I said, all right, shit, man. Later on, he became a lieutenant. And he's like, hey, Gunny, I remember you. Yeah, I see what you're saying now. I said, see, you see what I'm saying. You don't want people to get hurt. And it ain't nothing like you're not trying to be an ass sometimes, but sometimes you there's a reason why we tell you to put your PPE on or certain things. And I realized that a long time. There's a reason why they tell us to do certain things, because I used to get mad too. Like, why are they telling us to do this, man? Why I gotta do this? Why I gotta wear this? There's a reason. Because somebody always got hurt. Or so lost an eye, lost an arm or fingers, or whatever the case is. Or, all right, I'm gonna be quiet after this. I'm gonna really be quiet after this. So I'm gonna tell a story. There was.
Go ahead.
Do you mind? There was this.
Hell no, take your time, man. I told you I don't give a fuck, bro. I enjoy all of this, man.
I had so we were washing some equipment and stuff, right? There had some equipment being washed because it was, whatever. And right, big equipment. And I had a Marine. This Marine, he was at my old unit before I went to recruiting duty. Was it recruit? No, before I went to Albany, Georgia. Right. And I was a staff sergeant at the time. And this is when I was getting ready to go to Iraq. I'm gonna go back to that time. And there was this one Marine, and he was just a fuck up. And my boy had just picked up Gunny. So he used to joke around with me and say, "Come here, Boot." He used to call me Boot. "Come here, Boot." I was a staff sergeant. "Come here, Boot." And I started laughing. He said, "Hey, I ain't taking so-and-so to Iraq with me," because he was going to Fallujah. I was going to TQ out to Quadam.
TQ, damn, I ain't heard that in so long. TQ. Oh, I remember TQ. Yeah. Oh, you just took me back. I forgot about that place.
Yeah, TQ. I was at TQ. He's at Fallujah. And he said, "I ain't taking so-and-so with me. He is a fuck up." And I said, "Bro, I ain't taking him with us either." And then what happened is they sent me to the regiment, and I was going to leave with the regiment to go to, because we were leaving early to go to Iraq. And which I wound up ending back at the battalion later on from the regiment. It was weird. And so like 2 months later, so I went there earlier. And so so that Marine wound up going to Fallujah with them. And this Marine, he was just stupid, man. And so they said, "Hey," later on, it was like later on, "Hey," when I went back to the battalion level, after being in 2 months, they put us back over there because that's where we should have been. And they said, "Hey, staff sergeant, you heard what happened to so-and-so?" I said, "What happened?" "Man, he was like guy grounding some Connex boxes, and then he wanted the forklift guy to stop. Instead of like telling him to stop, he threw his hand up and tried to stop the Connex box." I said, "What?"
Oh,
broke his hand, right?
No.
Right? It went against the HESCO barriers in the Connex box and broke his hand, and they sent him back to the rear, like after 2 months after they were in Iraq. I was already there for 2 months. I said, "What?" I said, "Bro, I'm glad I didn't take him." I get back and everything goes on. I get orders. I picked up Gunny, get orders to Marine Corps Systems Command, do my time there, 3 years there, come back to an MWS 370 screw. Get there, and I'm talking to the Chief Warnos, and Chief Warnos, she's naming off the Marines, just going through, and she mentions the one there. I said, "What? Who?" And I said, "Oh, hell no. Why is he still in the Marine Corps? And he's a corporal. What the fuck is going on here?" And so she's like, "You know him?" I said, "Yeah." And I tell her a whole story about him back then, and then how he was in the rear, how he was driving through Camp Pendleton also and racing some Marine, right? Coming from the rifle range, and then told the Marine, hey, whatever. And he's driving and he sticks his middle finger up the Marine and flips his car. He flips and then gets injured. And then a helicopter, they had to bring a helicopter and land on the road to pick him up, to take him to a hospital out in town. Right?
Damn.
Not on base, out in town and everything. I said, are you serious? Because he told the Marine he was racing was beating him. So he stuck his middle finger up, like this, and then flips his car. I was like, same Marine. While we were in Iraq.
Damn.
I didn't know about that flipping until later on. So I told her about that, right? You see me, like, I'm stressing my neck thinking about this. This Marine. And so this Marine, he's in that unit. I said, what the fudge? And so we're okay. I'm like, all right, later on. She leaves. I take over the platoon and everything as a platoon commander. And then we sit and later on I hear like, yo, Gunny, hey. I'm talking to my staff son, Gunny, hey, so-and-so gotta come down. Ambulance is coming, blah, blah, blah. I said, what the fuck happened? And we get down there. I said, what happened? And I see him laying on the ground, right? Corpsman is down there. Ambulance shows up and everything. I said, what happened? Yo, so was washing the equipment. He's in a wetsuit. And he goes, hey, and he's using a pressure washer. And he goes, hey, you want to see me? He's joking around. You want to see me wash my dick? And so he goes, I'm like, and I hear the story. And what he did is he took the pressure washer and go like this. Mrs. Pecker about that much, man. Hit a gash in his leg and had to get 16 stitches and missed it. And I was like, are you fucking serious?
Oh,
so I talked about that in a little skit, not a skit, but like in a little face, talking about it. Like, yes, man. Yes, almost cut his thing off. Missed about that much. With a pressure washer. Same Marine, man. We're so-and-so in formation. Company formation. Oh, he ain't here, Gunny. He ain't showed up. What the? Yo, what's his address out in town? I go over there. Bro, you can't make this shit up. I go over there. Get there. I'm like driving, thinking like, what the fuck? Shit. Get over there. Get to an Oceanside. Driving. Get over there. I see him climbing out his window with his clothes. Not his rest is in his boxes and stuff. Out of the second floor of the window. And what happened is his girlfriend locked him out. He gets up in there. She's in there and she's screaming at him and stuff like that. She has his keys to his car and everything, and blah, blah, blah. I guess she like caught him cheating or something like that. And then blah. And so he's like, she's threatening him. And he's literally climbing out the freaking window, second floor, and he gets down. And I'm like, what the fuck? He gets in the car and I'm like, Colin. Well, I threw his name out there. I don't give a goddamn. Yeah, Colin, that's your name. From New York too. White Jamaican. He was white Jamaican. White Jamaican. From Brooklyn.
That's what's
yeah, so I don't care. Everybody knows you, Colin. All right. God damn. And I was like, what the hell? He tells me what happened. I said, what the fuck? There's a couple more things that happened. Right. And he already got busted down from corporal to lance corporal. He was a PFC. Next step was to get kicked out. A couple other things happened. I said, ma'am, I went up to the company commander. I said, ma'am, he's got to go. I'm the type of person, I didn't write you up. I never wrote you up. Unless I got told from above, you need to write that person up. I never wrote you up. I've never recommended it or anything like that. I believe I used to go behind a Connex box to have fights.
you take it to the tree line. Okay. You take it to the tree line.
I did it as a sergeant. That's where I grew up. I did it as a sergeant. And I remember going at it against another sergeant and one of my Marines, one of my junior Marines. And I'm not going to go rat him out and stuff like that. But I had a gunny that was just like, hey, hey, Sergeant so and so. Hey, next time take it behind the company. The not in front. Don't fight in front of the company. Take him behind the Connex box. I said, Gunny, I did. I tried to do that, but he wouldn't go. This is just back when I was a sergeant going against another sergeant. And he said, just make sure you don't do it in front of the company. And then I remember having a fight because one of my Marines thought I dimed him out and stuff like that. A Lance Corporal. I said, I didn't dime you out. It wasn't me, bro. I was a sergeant. I was a platoon sergeant. I said, it wasn't me. And we went at it, man. We went out, beat his ass. And then we made up. I knock on wood, I never lost a fight. Knock on wood, because I'm a shorter guy. So my thing is, I'm fighting for my life.
You're hungry as hell. You gotta
live.
be. That's the way it is. That's the way it is, man.
Even when I was gonna do a McMap, and me and my staff sergeant, just regular, this mutual thing. And then the whole platoon came around us. I said, oh shit, we're in Afghanistan. I said, oh shit, I gotta win this. I've got to fight for my life. I did the same thing there. Hit his big ass. He was like 6 something. And it was just like we're starting off the ground. I got him in a chokehold. I got to choke this motherfucker out. Right. And I hear one of his guys go, oh shit, Gunny's a spider monkey. Choke this motherfucker out. But then after that, I let him. I won him, and my boy tapped us out. His best friend, and I tapped him. He's like, "Hey, Gunny, that was a good one." And then I let him win after that because I was like, "Man, he also has his." But I got the whole platoon there, but he has his guys there too, heavy equipment. I gotta let him win. And so I didn't even put up no fight, man. I just kind of let him win. And I was like, because I got mine in. I gotta let him get his in. He's in front of his guys.
Save face.
Yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, because come on. And he was my roommate too. So,
that always counts. That counts.
I heard him so bad, man. His throat he couldn't talk. He couldn't talk for like a week because I put him in that chokehold. And there was a couple chokeholds. One that like make you pass out, and one that kill you. And I think I might have had them both. All right. I was fighting for life. But my thing is I've always taken it behind. I don't like writing people up. I didn't like that. But that particular time I was like,
take it to the tree line. That's what's
with that guy with Colin, I was like, man, nah, he's got to go. That's the first Marine I ever really wrote up that bad, put in there, and he got kicked out. It was that bad. He should have been kicked out long time ago. Long time. They let him. I don't know why they let him stay in. There was just okay. People change. People do change, and they get better. You could be like messed up before, and then change, and then you're like the best person. You're like you're good, but there was no hope for that guy, and he was hurt. He was hurting other people. He was getting other people hurt, and stuff like that. I was like, there's no way. In my mind, I was like, nah. So he was the first. I remember he got out and they did all the paperwork, and we were driving. I had to drive. They said, hey, we got to drive him off base. We got to drive him off base so they don't come back in. It's just you have to drive. Somebody got to drive him off base. So he was in his car. I'm in my car, and we driving off base. I ain't never hated. I ain't never disliked somebody that I have, but not that much. And we drove off base, and we got through the back gate of Camp Pendleton, and we driving, and he looked over at me because he know me the longest out of all those people, and because we were in 2 units together. He looked at me, he said, like that in his car, and I looked at him, and I was like, and I did a U-turn. And I just went on base, back on base and stuff. Get the hell away from me, man. I finally got rid of you. But all that stuff he calls me at that last unit, what is it? Almost 5 years prior, and you still. But yeah, I ain't never did that, man. That's the only person that I actually wrote up bad paperwork in my whole entire career. Bad paperwork. And they had to get out. It was like I told the company commander was like, you know, if you write this, he's gonna get kicked out. I said, he's got to go. He's got to go. I don't know why y'all messed up and kept him in this whole time. You had his time to like fix himself and everything. You know, he was just man, that dude, man. And then I remember one of my Gunny, I'm gonna say his name, Gunny McCole. He'll like that. Gunny McCole, funny as hell, big motherfucker. Go to and TQ on the bunker. They made a picture of him. They made a picture of a cowboy like this on the bunker. They painted it and stuff like that, and they got him. It's based off of him with a gold tooth. And Gunny McCole is funny as hell, man. Gunny McCole. And Gunny McCole came up there and said, man, I remember that motherfucker. He just talking about it. And he just started bringing up some old memories about old boy. He said, that motherfucker, god damn it. I seen your video. And it's just like, it made me, I was dying laughing. And I was telling my boys at work, yo, look at this motherfucker. And this guy right here, Cowan, that motherfucker. And he's just going off and stuff. And then he hit me up on the side and said, man, that dude was funny as. He said, man, that guy had to go. I said, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't say that about, I didn't say that much about Marines. Because you had some Marines that whatever they were going through and stuff like that, you know, they were going through some stuff like that and everything. And then whatever, some of them could have been helped and everything like that. But that dude right there, he wasn't gonna get somebody killed. You know, but yeah, that was it. That's it for me. That's it for me.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been an amazing episode with a celebrity Marine, a boss in the game, damn it, with not only 1 million followers alone on Facebook, but here on episode 171 of the WarDawg Trail with Marine1169, also Marine1169. All right. We have retired Marine Gunnery Sergeant who came through and had one of the greatest Marine discussions with me I have ever had on the show in 171 motherfucking episodes. This is one of the realest, one of the rawest, one that definitely hit home. Now, you can find him not only on Facebook, but also on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Kick, Snapchat, and Twitch. Again, I'll put his Instagram up on the screen for you. This is Marine1169, one of the greatest Marine comedians you will see anywhere in the world. All branches can relate to him. All MOSs and jobs can relate to him. This is one of the few that has that entertainment talent, that entertainment swag that is just natural, man. And I'm glad he came on the show to talk with us, chop it up with us. No, you know, just spend some time, man, and have a great Marine discussion. Gunny,
Yes, sir.
you have any final words?
No, thank you, man. I really I could sit up here and talk 24 hours with you and everything. I've been on a lot of podcasts, man. A lot of podcasts, and this has been like one of the best podcasts I've been on. For real, man.
Would you expect anything less from another Marine?
You could let me talk. You know, when you're a Marine, any MOS and stuff like that, you just been in the military, and you could tell, like, my mind just like, and it just like I just start talking, and you just let me talk. It's therapy for me, you know.
Yeah, hey, bro, you will be surprised. I hear that. Right? I hear that a lot here because it's one of the few places though that you can talk, and I give a damn to listen. Because you know what I mean? I wouldn't have brought you on the show if I wasn't already a fan and knew you were dope to me. So I know if I think you dope, and I just want to learn, man, how did you get to be as dope as you are? And that's what it's all about, bro. Man, and open it up.
I would have come back again. If you had me, I'll come back again 10 times full. I just like I'm
gonna definitely hit you up.
For real, man.
Sweetie, you got it, bro. I will definitely hit you up.
I needed this too. I needed it. For real. Thank you.
You'd be surprised. Most Marines, like I said, most Marines are vets, man. When we get to having good quality, long ass talks, man, people always end up saying, on both ends. Thank you for you, and you opened my eyes up to so much and put me on game that I can't do nothing but thank you. And then it's like I said, it's amazing to sit back and be like, damn, that's another dope Marine, man. Look at all he's been through. Look at all he's still carrying and going on. But guess what? He didn't check out. He didn't take himself out of the game. He's still fighting his day-to-day, life-to-life battle with everything that he's been through. And bro, you're an example and a beacon of light, bro. And I appreciate it.
Oh man, thank you, brother. Thank you.
That's what it's all about, man. Please enjoy the rest of your day, bro. And like I said, I told you earlier, I wish you nothing but the best in every single thing you do. Bro.
Yeah, same here. Same here. Same here.
All right, bro. Simplify and salute, bro.
All right.
All right, hoorah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps it up for episode 171 of the WarDawg Trail podcast. Now, remember, I now have a new mobile app and desktop app. So you can scan this QR code and download the mobile app for Apple, Android, MacBooks, or Windows. And obviously, you can catch us on your TV. Download the Sergeant WarDawg TV app on Amazon Fire TV or Roku. This has been another great episode. Salute.
GM on the beat.
Hey, go crazy, go stupid, go crazy, go stupid. It's the party time to slide the cash and buy. Get your dog, don't get ready, time to ride. Got your hair done and your hair cut. Makeup poppin', fellas got the Rolex. Go crazy, go stupid, go crazy, go stupid. It's a cool Friday night and yeah, I'm trying to catch a vibe. All the dogs just hit my phone and told me peace, it's time to ride. You know that I'm dead fresh every time my nigga slide. Face the first when I be moving, keep the toolie on my side, cause I'm real.